Hold on to your mug. We're in for a wild night.
Greeting, traveler.
Welcome everybody to another episode of Born to be Wild, a Wild exclusive Hearthstone podcast where we have fun hanging out with friends, talking about the Wild format of Hearthstone and spotlighting members of the Wild community. I'm your host, Nate Wolf. It's good to be here on another great Friday. Really excited to hang out with my friends here, and we've got a really special guest for you guys this week.
Hey everybody, this is Hydralisk. Favorite night of the week, you guys. I'm really happy to be here, stoked for the show. We got an awesome guest tonight.
Yo, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Blakarot. Really excited to be here tonight. You know what I'm saying? Got a big guest tonight. Really excited to do this. So let's get to it. Let me introduce this guest. So not only a legend player, we have a multi-server legend player. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking worldwide. You know what I'm saying? Global phenomenon. CEO of Amber Flight Gaming. Really excited. Tonight we have Dragon Rider in the building. Give it up for Dragon Rider. What's up, DK?
What? Hey, welcome to the show.
Hello. Well, that was quite an introduction. Thank you so much.
Hey, you know, I saw Nate. He assigned me the role to introduce guests, so I got to do a little bit of research and try to, you know, amp it up to make you guys feel real special. We have a special guest on the show, so just trying to make you feel welcome.
Oh, well, you did fantastic. I love it.
All right.
Yeah, we're really, really happy to have you. Welcome very much to the show. It's been seeing you in the community for a really long time, so it's an honor to have you here.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, and I've kind of listened to your guys' show off and on for a little while as well. So I'm honored actually that I was invited. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
So to kick off the show, what we like to do is we go around, we just see how each other are doing, see what we've all been up to. So I'm going to start with you, Nate. What have you been up to this week? What's been going on with you?
It's been like this week has lasted like a month for me work-wise. Like it was super busy. But at the start of the week, actually, it's pretty cool. I hit Legend earlier this week. It came in just under 350, so that was super cool. I was trying really hard to take like a tier 5 deck to Legend, and I got really close. I was playing Big Shaman, and I climbed all the way up to D1 and then sank back to 3. I was like, forget it. It's not worth it.
Oh, it's so close.
No, it's not worth it.
It's not worth the headache. So I switched over to Big Priest and like sailed in. I swear, I normally wouldn't say this, but it was like playing on autopilot. Like you play the cards, you play the cards, and then you win. Now, I mean, my final 3 matches were against 3 secret mages, like back to back, and it's a little bit difficult sometimes to play around. Like counterspell is really difficult for that deck to deal with, but overall, like it was fine. It was fine. So that was exciting for me, and now I kind of been cruising. So we'll see. I've got some matches to do. Games left to win for my 1K portraits for Warrior and Shaman. I both about 100 away. But we've got some unnerfs coming, and so those 2 classes will be extra fun to play in the next couple of weeks. Yeah, that's me.
Cool. Mike, what have you been up to?
Oh, you know, been doing the usual, staying busy at work, trying to make this money, pay these bills, and then get ahead. But like most people, just kind of throw your entire paycheck to the bill, and then just look at your fridge and be like, I'll eat what's in the fridge tonight. But this week there was actually a turnaround. So I heard that we were going to get this government money coming in. So I looked at my bank account, and it's not here, but it's pending. So that's exciting.
Yeah.
That's a big jump. You know, when you see a bunch of green digits on the plus side pending, that'll be cool. So when that comes through, that'll be awesome. For this week, also been preparing the Born to be Wild Listener Series playoffs. I'm excited for that. But yeah, work's been going good. Been having a good time. Another thing I didn't expect that just happened today, so that qualifies for this week. I got a payout from Twitch from last month. Yeah,
Very cool. Yeah,
totally,
congrats.
totally didn't expect it. I'm not coming in here beating my chest bragging, but yeah, it was great news. I wrote it down on my notes, like a last minute write in. Felt awesome. It was like an hour or two ago. I was like, what is this? It's crazy. So like that on top of payday, felt great on top of whatever else might come through. So financially, hopefully we're on the uptick. You know what I'm saying? Save some money for the next rainy day. To leave this piece off. Always save your money because your money will save you. You know what I'm saying? Fully believe in that. But yeah, it's been a good week. Hydra, I've had a good week. How's your week going, man?
Pretty good, to be honest. On Saturday last week, I decided to hit the ladder, and once I got to the rank 5 diamond floor, as soon as I get to that point, I'm kind of like, you can kind of breathe a bit because, like, you've done that part of the climb, and that's when I just start kind of doing whatever. And I've been trying to round out my collection, opening packs from different expansions from the past that I'm missing some stuff. And I decided to open some grand tournament packs, and I actually opened a legendary that I didn't even know existed. And I'm pretty sure most of you guys may have heard of it. I did not know that the card Edith's Darkbane existed. Do any of you guys have this card? Edith's Darkbane?
I do. I don't know that I've ever played it. Maybe once or twice. I kind of forgotten about it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably one that sits in your collection, and yeah, it's like, well, I forgot about that thing.
Isn't that that's the new warrior portrait, right?
Oh, it totally looks like it, doesn't it?
I think I'm pretty sure it is, right? I'll have to double check now.
Either way, maybe that's true, but I didn't know what to do with this card, and I just posted a screenshot that I had gotten it, and I didn't know it existed. And Schmoopy Daddy in the Discord decided to throw me a list. Basically, okay, first of all, what the card does, if you don't see it up on the screen there, is it's a 3-mana 3/4 neutral that whenever you target this card with a spell, deal 3 damage to a random enemy. So, what was suggested to me was to play a Libram Paladin, get your 0-mana Librams, and basically you just fill your entire hand with the 0-mana Librams with a Lady Liadrin, which is the battle cry. Add a copy of each spell you cast on friendly characters this game to your hand. So you fill your entire hand full of 0-mana spells, and then you just keep buffing this card, and then it just throws these 3 damage like spells at any enemy. Basically, if the board is clear, you're just doing the whole machine gun thing them to death, and it's so fun that I actually went 7-1 when I played an 88% win rate.
Wow.
With this, yeah, I know, and it's not even that good of a deck. It's kind of like low to the ground, and I went in a mirror match actually, and I don't know if they had this card, but it was another Libram Paladin, and I ended up having the win con of this, which they were like, wow.
I was wrong, by the way. It's Anhilda is the hero portrait. They're
similar.
both Valkyries, though. It's the same wings and the same helmet and stuff.
All right.
So.
Yeah. So I was messing around with stuff like that this week. As soon as, like I said, I hit the Diamond 5 floor, I just been messing around, and I was playing a little bit of that new Tess Major Domo Rogue, and like just anything that's just sort of out there right now, that just playing around, having fun with the game. And yeah, nothing too interesting else in life. It's been, pretty normal. Work's been great. Nothing to complain about. So, I mean, that's good if you don't have too much to complain about. So, how about you, Dragon Rider? What's been going on with you? How's your week been?
It's been a pretty good week for me. I stream full time, so in terms of work, it's been pretty good. It's been pretty exciting.
Love your streams.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, I saw you guys had some hoodies come in. They look really good.
Yes.
Oh my God.
AFG, we just got some hoodies in. The whole team got theirs. Oh, they're so awesome. I love them. I should have been wearing it. What was I thinking? Oh, all right. Well, fail number 1 right off the get go. great start.
I saw those and I was like, oh, we need to get some of those.
Yeah, they're
That sounds
so
pretty
good.
sweet.
They're so comfortable too, like such good quality. In terms of the game itself, the start of the week was really good. On Monday, which was the 8th, I hit Legend. I will preface this, I'm a standard player. So standard Legend on the 2nd server for the month already. I've gotten to Diamond 5 on the 3rd server, but I don't have a very big collection. So it's been kind of a struggle because the only decks that I have right now are in Aggro Demon Hunter and OTK Demon Hunter. And I have no idea how to play OTK Demon Hunter. So I've been trying to play that. And the Aggro DH has kind of been hit or miss. So
Hey, Ben from work in the chat, he may be able to help you with that Demon Hunter. He's pretty good at it. He's actually, as far as I know, he's taken that into Wild and played it there successfully.
It's the same deck with one card swapped, I think.
Yeah, it's just one card.
So
Hey, Dragon Rider, I was gonna say, over here, hey, we don't discriminate. If you play standard, it's the game. That's where they put the money at. You're such a high level player. You got to play where they put the money at. You're with the pros, so no discrimination. I'm loving it. You played Wild before it was Wild. You're in that category. You know what I'm saying? So I'm excited to hear about your week. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. Yeah, I've been playing since beta. So yeah, like before Wild was even ever a thing.
Yeah, most of these kids were in diapers. They were like 6. Good.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, actually, that is kind of a good transition point. Actually, if let me just switch over here for people who aren't as familiar with you. Can you give us a little bit of background about yourself? I mean, as much or as little as you're willing to share, but who are you? How long have you been playing, and all that type of stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been playing since beta. Originally, I was kind of just more of a casual player, but I get really involved in just the community, listening to a ton of podcasts. I mean, there's been podcasts since Hearthstone, I'm pretty sure, was in beta. And at one point I was listening to, I think it was either 14 or 17 Hearthstone podcasts at one time, per week.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Yeah, there were a lot of Hearthstone podcasts early on.
Yeah.
I don't quite have the time for that now, but
if only.
Yeah, right. So I just really got involved. I guested on a couple of podcasts at that point and just was really into the community. And just over time, I finally decided at one point I had been watching a lot of the DreamHack tournaments and all of the big official tournaments that were being held and listening to the casters and watching and I would start to say things out loud, or I'd start to, I would say a play and be like, that's what they did. And that's what they just talked about. And I finally had this realization, I can do this. And I think I want to do this. And so it really just fueled my drive and passion for the game even more. And I can be competitive. I want to do this. So eventually I started playing in a ton of tournaments and really just kind of diving in. And then I started streaming consistently. I streamed really early on in Hearthstone, but I just didn't enjoy it felt like a chore at that time in my life to stream. But now this time it's turned into something that I really enjoy and want to do. So I've been streaming now for almost 3 years. And
Nice.
then,
Yep.
Yeah. And back in November, my husband and I finally were like, all right, I'm going to give this a shot. So I'm diving in and been full time now. Going to be trying it out for a little over a year and see how it goes. And, if it doesn't quite work out, then I'll go back to the normal kind of workforce. But I'm loving every minute of it. And not only has the streaming and just competing, it really pushed me as well. My husband really convinced me, you'd be a great leader and you're really into this. So, instead of being on some other esports team, why don't you create your own?
Yes.
So we've,
Okay.
So we created Amber Flight Gaming. We've been around for almost a year and a half now. So that's been going really well. And we've been growing, which is insane. And I also just want to give a huge shout out, especially today is the first Masters Tour event of the year, and our player Neji Boston qualified for it and is competing in that.
Nice.
And so far, he is 4-0 in this tournament. So
SG.
Wow.
Oh,
he's
not
been
surprised.
killing
Keep
it.
going. That's what I'm talking
Yeah.
about.
And
Wow,
he's
that's
also
super cool.
very, like, he plays a lot of wilds and stuff. So I'm sure some people might recognize that
Oh,
he's
yeah.
been playing in like the wild for THL. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so I'm really excited about that. Like, it's great to see people around you also like just having success and doing well and growing. And, you know, and for me personally, like, I love to share that positivity and get to see other people succeeding as well. So that's been a huge thing for me.
Wow, that's really, really, really cool. I was going to ask a question that's, I guess, a bit of a selfish question on my end. You play on 3 servers, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, and so you do the
Oh, you guys are
grind.
best friends here.
Yeah, you're in good company. Yeah.
Well, because I do as well, but I don't do what you do, and I don't get the legend on all servers sort of thing. I usually burn out pretty quickly. Like I'll go to rank 5 diamond on one, and then I move over and I do another, and then by the end I'm just sort of like done, and I don't have any motivation anymore, and I don't get over the finish line. And so, like, what do you do? What is your plan of attack at the beginning of the month when you wanna do this? Like, how do you balance it? Like, just let me know.
Yeah.
I need some help.
Good question.
That's a good question. So the way that I've been doing it is I focus on just one server and I get legend on one server. And then as soon as I'm legend, then I switch over. Because I don't know, there's just something about the way my brain works. It's like, I feel like I would get totally thrown off, especially because, like I mentioned, like my Europe account doesn't have the same kind of collection. So I have to play different decks on that server. So for me, it helps to I stick with one server, play like one deck, stick with that all the way until I hit legend. And then it's like, all right, cool, that's done. Now next one. And then I play that because I know for myself that when I switch decks a lot, or if I try to switch back and forth, I get confused, or I feel like I'm not as comfortable with the decks, and then I can't kind of get that grasp on them. So when I switch too much, it just throws me off and I end up not having very good results. So for me, what has worked is just sticking on one server till I get legend and then switching to the next one.
That's a really good answer that I didn't really think about, because like they always say, like, when you're laddering up in general, stick to your deck. Don't just switch it up because you had a few bad matchups or whatever. But that you've applied that basically to all the servers because you're getting used to one deck. And then, that's totally true, because when I play on Asia, like, I have this odd paladin that I play all the time. But if I'm playing something completely different, like a Kingsbane Rogue on NA, and then I decide, screw it, I'm not having a good day, I'm going to switch over to Asia, right? And then I get thrown off. Yeah. So that's the exact answer I was looking for. And I didn't know what I was looking for.
Well, I'm glad I could help. I hope that it works for you. I mean, to be fair as well, like I said, since I'm doing this full time, like, I have a lot of time to dump into it. So, like, I didn't start actually working on multiple servers until this year. It's kind of funny. I do a standard podcast called Dr. 3. And at the beginning of the year, we did an episode kind of about like what we accomplished last year and what we had for goals for this year. And I remember saying my goal was I wanted to hit legend on 2 servers in 1 month because I'd never even tried it. So January, I was like, well, let's just try. I'm going to just try it. And yeah, like halfway through the month, I was like, well, I'm legend on a 2nd server. Hey, like, hit my goal. So then, like, a week into February, for some reason, my crazy brain was like, what if I try to do it on 3? And if February's the shortest month, this will be great. And somehow I did it. And I was like, I don't know how I did it. And then I realized, why do I think like that about myself? Because, like, obviously I know what I need to do and I'm a good player because I can do it, but I just never also had that confidence of myself to do it. And I never had tried. So my brain was like, oh no, you haven't tried it and you're not that great. You can't do it. But once I did, it was like, oh, Yeah, I can.
I can do this.
Yeah, I got
That's
this.
awesome.
Light work.
That's so cool.
Light work. You said Dr. 3. Who's your... Didn't you guys have a cool special guest recently on your podcast?
We did. We did a special interview episode with Alec Dawson.
Whoa. Oh, it was crazy.
Yeah.
How was that? What was that like?
Oh my gosh, it was
Talk to me.
awesome. It was cool. And one thing about that is, speaking of podcasts and like my history with podcasts. So for those who may not know, Alec Dawson works on the Hearthstone team now, but he was one of like the original podcasters in the community scene. He did the Golden Wisp.
He's like the OG.
And-
Yes, the OG.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if that's somebody you
And,
want on the inside.
Exactly. He's like, it's so cool, and he's just so friendly and all of that. And even when he did the podcast, he would even do like free coachings for a couple of listeners every
Wow.
month. And at one point early on, I actually got a coaching from him. So it
Yeah.
feels like it's come like full circle now, because now like years later, he's on the Hearthstone team and I'm doing a podcast and we get to interview him about the game development, which is just like surreal almost. It's so cool.
Yo, that's really awesome. I just want to slide that in because Hydra brought it up. So for my question, more focused on you. Let's jump back 3 years. 3 years ago, right? So I was an affiliate yet. I was working at this movie theater, late night shifts. I'd get out, and then after work, I was like, all right, jumping on stream. And like, there were 3 people that motivated me to stream. I call them my big 3. This guy named Data Dave, and then our buddy Ziggy Sarah, Ziggy OG over at 600 Dust, and then right here, Dragon Rider. Very, very influential in me streaming. Every time I'd get on night to stream at night after this crappy kitchen job, I would just take the time and like look at the viewers in stream, and then I'd always see Dragon Rider there. And I'm always just like scratching my head. And I'm not saying she was there start to finish, but what I'm saying is like every time I got onto stream, I just saw her username there. And I'm just like, yo, what is it that makes this person come watch my stream every single day? And I'm like, I'm decent, I'm not that great. But over time, like I got to talk to Dragon Rider and get to know her and like get to know about her and like share stories, and like a very cool person, and like it was very motivating. And there was a point in time where like I couldn't stand that job. So it was motivation for me to see your name when I got on stream. So this story is a purpose here. I wanted to ask you, when you're streaming now full time, who do you like to see in your chat, and like who keeps you motivated when you look through your list? If it's a user or a moderator, like who keeps you going?
That's a good question. And while I come up with an answer, I will just say that I honestly don't remember anything about the game or how you were at the game, because a big thing for me is I don't care what game people are playing. I don't care how good they are at it. When I'm hanging in streams and supporting somebody, I'm supporting that stream for them. I'm supporting you. So what
Gotcha.
made me come to the stream was you, because you are awesome and you deserve the support. So
Appreciate that.
I don't remember anything about how good or bad you were at the game. It's about the support and being there.
3 years ago, I was mega trash.
I think I was too. So I don't remember back then. I don't know. I barely remember yesterday. I'm surprised I remembered that it was this week I got Legend. But I think for me, like, there are some people who like consistently do pop in the stream and stuff like that, but it's just a matter of whether it's the same name or just every once in a while. But the people who come back, even on a somewhat regular basis, like for me, that is what is the most encouraging. Because then it's like, hey, they didn't just come in once and then like never show up again. You know, they actually made an effort, you know, to come in and say hi, and like that means a lot to me. As well as when people bring up things like they'll come in the stream and say, hey, I saw you cast, you know, that tournament last night, and you did a great job. That was fantastic. Or they come in and say, hey, like your YouTube video that you did on whatever was great. Like that, I look forward to another one. Like that means a lot to me, because just taking that extra couple of seconds to say something like that means a lot as a content creator, especially because like there's two things. First of all, most of the time people don't say anything.
Yeah.
So then you're left wondering, like, do people like the stuff I'm doing? Like, are people watching it? Nobody says anything. But then also it's like, well, it makes you wonder sometimes too, like, well, I'm putting in all of this effort. I'm doing these streams, I'm doing video, I'm doing all this stuff, and nobody says anything. And it's like, then it almost makes you doubt, like, why am I doing this? If people aren't, saying anything, like, do they actually like it? Is it worth my time? So the people that come in or say things like that, like, for me, it goes a long way. And that's the biggest thing.
Got it. I love that answer. Pass it off to Nate. Appreciate it, DK.
Nice. Yeah, no, I like that. Hey, what is since I have you on here, where do you come up with the name Dr. 3 from? I mean, I know what I associate Dr. 3 with, but I'm curious to hear your answer.
So that name was actually created before I joined the podcast. But it really comes from like pretty much Dr. Boom. And then they have 3 hosts. So it's kind of like like a tip to having 3 hosts, and then kind of a Dr. Boom thing. So
I like
it. Because I remember when it got made. So it was this energy of, there was a phase in time when everybody played Dr. Boom on Curve. So I remember they were like playing off the meme energy and that, and just kind of being cutesy about that. But then there's 3 hosts, so like there's Dr. 3. Because I remember that phase when Dr. Boom always came on 7. And it's like, oh my god, man.
Yeah. I mean,
no.
Well, talking about Wild, right? And how long we've all been playing. I remember they would refer to Dr. Boom as Dr. 7, and then in when Secret Paladin was like the big force to be reckoned with, I'll never forget, like, Lotheb was Dr. 5, and Mysterious Challenger Dr. 6, Dr. Boom was Dr. 7, and then Tyrion is Dr. 8, and the whole thing is just this play on tempo. And so when I think of Dr. 3, I'm like, muster for battle. That's what.
Oh, okay.
Right? That's funny. One other final question that I have for you. We asked this question of everybody: is where did you come up with your username? Where did you come up with Dragon Rider?
Yes, I get asked this a lot. So I think I came up with this username when I was like 12 or something.
That's awesome.
Like my early stages of, don't even need to go into how old I am now, but this is, a couple decades ago now. And it kind of came from after I read the first Aragon book.
Oh,
okay.
So,
okay.
Yeah, a lot of people ask about like Pern and stuff like that, but I never read those, so yeah.
I was guessing that it was like a WoW thing or something. I wasn't sure. That's really cool. I read all the Aragon books. I remember being floored that the guy that wrote them was like 16 years old or something.
Yeah.
So
did not know that.
Super cool. Yeah, he was like a high school student or something. It was pretty crazy.
Oh wow.
Before we move on, I heard that you might have some questions for us.
I do. Yes. So,
Spice.
you guys reached out to me about having me on the show, and I kind of wanted to reiterate the point, like, I'm a standard player, and I really haven't played Wild. I guess when it wasn't specifically Wild. That's been a long time. And I still wanted to be on the show. You guys still wanted me on the show. So I figured, well, what if we talk about what do you guys, I have a couple of questions. The first one would be, what do you guys suggest to standard players, like, to draw us to Wild? Like, what do you like about Wild? What is a pull? What would make me want to go try Wild and play Wild?
Can I spit mine out because it's on my forefront?
Please do.
Okay. So I'll say it and then you guys can go. To pull standard players to Wild, here's one edge. You could bring your standard deck, pure standard, into Wild, and probably beat some wild decks, and then like you cause an uproar. You know what I'm saying? You cause a little bit of drama, a splash on the scene. But in a more positive light, you could take that standard list, you could port it to wild, and then play a wild version. And when I say that, I took Pizza's Recruit Warrior from standard, ported it to wild, and now I'm able to play a 6-mana warrior spell called Gather Your Party, recruit a minion from your deck. So there are 2 points that I want to pitch out and pass it.
Yeah, I'll jump on real quick. I think that part of it is nostalgia. Part of it is as a collector. Like I never wanted to get rid of my old cards. Like they were going to rotate, and the idea that I couldn't use this anymore made me kind of sad. And I think from a standard perspective, we see that quite often actually is there will be a deck that's like really strong in standard and you enjoy playing it. And if you bring it into wild, very often you would only change a small amount of cards, 2, 3, 4 cards, and get a huge like spike in power level. And so there's, I mean, I don't really play a lot of wild, but for an example, maybe you're looking at like, I was watching the Masters Tour earlier today, and I saw people playing like Token Druid or the different Control Priest decks and things like that. And you can take that shell, bring it into wild, only change a small number of cards, but the power level can like double. It's crazy. And so for me, the draw is like kind of meshing the old cards and the new cards, and it can get kind of degenerate, and I just really like that power level. And then it's kind of fun every time there's new stuff. It's like, oh hey, how does this interact with my old stuff? And it's kind of nostalgic to go and be able to play some fun decks. Like someone in chat saying like, hey, we've got all these old dragons, it's kind of fun. So there's a lot of reasons. I do think that if there was somebody that was a standard gamer that wanted to try wild, there are definitely, I think there's some misconceptions sometimes in that it's really hard to get started in wild. You need to have a gigantic collection, or it's really expensive, or things like that. And it's kind of funny because some of the best decks in wild have some of the lowest costs. I think like Kingsbane is really good, but there's only one legend in the whole deck, and it's the Kingsbane. And it's a bunch of, it's mainly pirates, or like Secret Mage is one of the best decks in wild. I saw people playing it in standard a little bit, but typically that runs only one legend, and it's a really strong deck, but the power level is so much higher in wild than it is in standard.
Yeah, to go along with what you were saying there, Nate, for a while when I was trying to get some priest wins, I swapped over to standard, and I was playing a little bit of Res Priest in standard with that, greetings fellow humans card. And I was playing it, and like, I mean, the deck has like not that great of a win rate, but you just annoy everybody, right? Your card 2 defenders for days and stuff like that. But after playing that for a couple weeks, and then I switched back to wild and I played like a res or big priest in wild, it's like completely night and day. If I was a standard player and then I went over to wild and crafted a res priest in wild, it would blow my mind like how much more powerful it really, really is. And like, you think you can bring your stuff back like in standard? Well, in wild, it's ridiculous. Like, it is endless of just walls of these taunts. If you want to be degenerate and play something like that, you can. Right? And also with that wild being expensive thing, these decks don't go away. They're not going to rotate. There are staples that have been around. For example, the card Baku, the Moon Eater, right? Like, that opens up, you craft that one card, and that opens up your odd warrior, your odd rogue, your odd paladin. Like, those are all viable archetypes that you can play with that one card. And if you're a budget player, you're free to play, you can build on just that one card, and you can make budget versions of those decks, and then you can just build upon it. It's honestly not that difficult. I've done it myself for free to play on multiple servers, and yeah, those decks don't go away. That's my favorite part of Wild is I don't need to worry about the rotation. That these things are going to go away.
It's actually kind of funny, yeah, because when a new set comes out, like we got this new set coming out in a couple few weeks here, and it's kind of funny because I mean we haven't seen the cards yet, but I imagine that only a small handful of them make an impact on Wild. And so it's interesting. It's actually not that expensive. Like once you have some established decks, like cool, we swap a couple cards here and there, but more often than not, like you don't need this whole new set. Like I only need a dozen cards from it. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, and once you've built, that's another thing. If you've built that in that collection and you've not dusted your cards, you've built upon it. Once you get further down, like Nate said, oh, you only need 12 cards from the set. Like honestly, yeah, like a new set comes out, you can, if you don't want to be purchasing the expansion and buying the mega bundle and all that stuff, you honestly don't need to. Like you can just get the cards that are viable in the meta, or you can just craft whatever you want for fun with the remaining dust that you have. And it is such like a sandbox of create whatever the heck you want. Like yeah, you're not going to be top legend with just something completely random, but some like Nate was playing like a big shaman that is not a top tier deck and almost got legend with that. So
it's not even, it didn't make the tier list at all. So that, if that tells you anything, but yeah. So I saw that you guys have a couple players on your team as well that do Wild. I know Bitbeaker does, like kind of dabbles, but I know Rotted Zombie is a huge name in the Wild community. And coincidentally, we live very close to each other and manage to miss each other at a handful of firesides. But like, it's really amazing player that you got there. So congrats on that as well.
Thank you. Yeah, we're really excited to have him, and I'm hoping I can maybe dabble in Wild a little bit more with so many of our players being Wild and being invited on here. It's like, all right, well, maybe it's time. Maybe it's time to jump over there, which does lead into my second question, which you guys kind of talked about, like the collection, and there's so many decks. So if someone who's never played Wild before, they're just play standard, like it can feel intimidating with so many possibilities, like thinking about all of that stuff that's in Wild and thinking about how many decks am I going to have to play against and learn all of these new decks going into that. How, like, what advice, I guess, would you guys give to somebody, like, in terms of looking at it seeming overwhelming, or like there's too much, they don't want to learn a new meta again, but they might still want to try it?
I would personally start with what I touched on earlier with the Baku thing. They're very powerful decks, and so you can start off with that odd paladin or like an odd rogue. They aren't that expensive, as I said before. You can play budget versions of them, and there is obviously going to be a learning curve with learning the meta, but just like standard, when you're on the ladder and you're trying to rank up, you are going to run into the same decks. That's just the reality of it. There is going to be matchups that you're going to learn, and no, you're not going to know how to play the matchup right away, but you will learn, because there are, like, when there's a main deck, you're going to learn how to play against it. Like maybe when you first start playing Secret Mage and you don't know what secrets they have, you're going to start memorizing them pretty quick because that deck is annoying. And I've been guilty of playing it as well. So, like, just jump in and have fun. You could start off with some cheap decks. Like I said, Baku the Moon Eater is a good way to go, and Patches the Pirate.
I think I'll chip in with a real quick answer. I will say that Wild has a meta just like Standard does. I mean, of course, it's different, but the same idea. A real easy way to kind of get a handle on it. There's meta reports for Tempo Storm, for Vicious Syndicate, and also HS Replay. And so if you're curious about, what's good, what's not, or what are you going to play against, jumping on one of those websites will kind of give you a quick grasp on, what are the top tier decks, or what are you, between suggestions for what to play or what to craft, but also what you'll be playing against. And so that would be my suggestion and that's similar for standard if you're starting out and you don't know what you're seeing. Vicious Syndicate, there's a lot less data for Wild because there's less people playing, but their meta report it's really good. We've got a bunch of friends who write for Tempo Storm, and so they're including Rotted Zombie, and their meta report is very good. And again, HS Replay, again, the data is a lot more limited for Wild, but it's still very good, and I think those are good resources. Mike, do you have any thoughts?
Hey, Dragon Rider, could you repeat that one more time for me, please? I'm sorry.
Yeah, basically just what is your advice for somebody who might think that the meta in Wild would be very overwhelming? There's a lot of decks. They'd have to learn a completely new meta.
Okay, so if this is someone who's used to playing standard, I would just say approach it the same way you do with standard, and it's going to be just as standard is 10 classes. But in Wild, Hunter is bad, Shaman's bad, so you got to worry about less classes. So Warlock will always be good, Priest will be good. So the classes that are good, they're going to have multiple decks. As Nate and Hydra had pointed out, there are tier decks, but my specific advice would be to join, if they're already not a part of a Discord server, AFG, Born to be Wild, beautiful Discord servers. You could join one of those two or any of the communities out here, and you're going to find people who play Wild. And even if your friends, you might have friends who play Standard who also play Wild. We have a Wild podcast here, but just like Martian Boo, I play Standard on mobile, So pretty sure there's somebody that the person, if they're not connected to them already, there's another person connected to them outside that could help them out and explain about what's currently popular, what the current counter decks are, and then what some cool off meta decks are. That's mainly what I like about our Discord. People will talk about a lot of people will talk about what's popular right now, and over the past few months, I kind of like reading that from the distance. I'm like, all right, I'm going to make decks purposely built against that. So like a few months ago, I built Odd Warrior, completely built to destroy Secret Mage. And I climbed up to like rank 300, 200. And then that's when Absolute started being friends with me. And I was like, all right, I'm up here, baby. Let's go. So like just being in a community with people and conversating about what's popular. And you could talk with folks how to counter it. Like, Smoopy Daddy, he's a deck builder. So like, if you're a standard player, you got friends who play. I'm pretty sure they could find friends who play Wild, and that's my suggestion. Just using that network of people. Word of mouth is like moves like that, man. You know what I'm saying? Like my Discord DMs, we all use Discord, so you know how it is. Like networking and word of mouth will definitely help you out.
Yeah, and I will say the community is very welcoming in Wild. That's been my experience, anyways.
Sure, most definitely.
And streamers, you can always pop on, and there's some dedicated Wild streamers that you can pop on, and you can watch them play. There's meme streamers. There's we've got some top legend streamers. We've got one sitting right here on the podcast, Blakarot, streaming.
Hey,
right. So you can always pop in, and you can get a feel for what's going on, and you can see the meta right then and there, and you can watch. You can see people talking through their plays, so just jump in. It's fun. I love Wild. It's my favorite format. So
yeah, there may be more cards, but trust me, there's a gigantic handful that are just really bad. So
that's true.
It may seem daunting at first, but once you step in, you're just like, oh, there's like, all right, there's like 6 good decks out here, 6, 7 classes, whatever. It's all good. Like,
all right, well, I think moving on, can we jump into the listener series real quick?
Yeah, let's run it down real quick. I know we got some Hearthstone news to talk about. We're all excited.
Yeah, lots of news.
All right, so over at Born to be Wild listener series, it's playoffs. I'm really excited. The 5 weeks have wrapped up. So this season, initially we were going to do a top 8 cut, a top 12 cut, sorry. Give the top 4 a bye, but based on some circumstances and situations that had been arisen, we decided to mix it up. You know what I'm saying? Shake the snow globe. So what we did this time around was give the top 8 players a bye. So the top 8 players get to take a week off, kick their feet up, you know what I'm saying, watch the chaos ensue. So let me run down the standings. In first place, we have Dr. Evil. She was our guest last week. Very talented player. She went 5-0. She flew through the series. I think she was really determined and fired up because she really wanted. It doesn't surprise me that she's in first because she really wanted there to be a wild series. So shout out to her. She deserves 25% for this series even existing. I'll give that to her because she was messaging me like, Mike, make sure this happens. So props to Taylor.
Yeah, absolutely. She's also really, really very good player. 100%.
Oh yeah, not to downplay that. Sorry. Yeah.
No, not at all. I think she is a force to be reckoned with. Hands down. I think we've all lost to her at some point. So
guilty.
Yeah, same.
Dude. Oh man, thinking about it, it's like a setup. She's like, Mike, set this series up. I'm like, all right, cool. And then she just comes in and boom, 5-0, runs through everybody. But yeah, man, she's a force. To run down this list for the audio listeners, beautiful graphic, by the way, Nate. I know you took a lot of time to set this up, so thank you very much. So yeah, Taylor Eve in first place, Flavio in second, Blase in third place, Blase of THO royalty. Fourth place, got our buddy Wildcard, top 4. Fifth place, we have Megamog. Discord name is Megapog. What is it Megamog? Megapog? What is the official?
I think it's Megamog, but I don't know that it really matters that much.
Okay. It's all good.
If you're listening, let us know.
Yeah, let us know, Mega. You're always in Discord. Props to being active. Really appreciate it. Sixth place coming in is Lord Zav. Love Lord Zav. Seventh place coming in, our boy Nate Wolf, TCG. Woo! Yeah. All right, Nate. First round bye. I swear I didn't give him extra points. I didn't. I swear, hey, don't message me. Don't at me. Don't nothing like that. Okay.
I earned it.
Yeah, he earned it, man. And then in 8th place, we have Oddlaw. Shout out to Oddlaw. So there's the top 8. They get the first round bye. They get to sit up in the the palatial estate, eat grapes, hang out for a week, watch TV on the flat screens. While the rest of the field it's going to be 16 players battling it out in our wild card round. Really excited for this. The rules for this week, for this round, it's going to be Pauper rules. Pulled this straight from Magic the Gathering. So your deck is comprised of common and basic cards. Really excited to see the creative deck building here. The last time I did Pauper was in practice games, like last winter when I was just really bored. But there's so many new cards that have come out in a year. So I've built one deck, but I got to get on the rest of them and get my match going. To run down the competitors for the audio listeners, our matchups are as follows. We have Maxibon versus the Blaze Storm, Electric Sheep City versus Sublime, Sano Suki versus Swarm Tides. We have Conray versus Blakarot. That'll be a fun match. We have Sorvon versus Seth for Christ. We have the Cyberon versus Schmoopy Daddy. Gonna be pretty sick. We have Chaos Nova versus Labor Sangre. That's gonna be a really good one. Nice. Speaking of a good one, here we go. We have Dr. Bomb versus Shia Wasina.
Yeah, that'll be really good.
This wild card round, man, is pretty loaded. I like the idea of having it feel bigger. The 16 contestants here balloted out to face the top 8. I like that a lot. I'm pretty excited. You guys excited for this round?
It'll be a lot of fun. I saw Shia talking, like doing some trash talk in the Discord this week. It was like just trying to be. He said, "Hey, there needs to be more heals in Hearthstone, and I'm going to be one of them." Okay. Oh boy.
Oh man. Yeah, he was spicing it up. Oh man. Could you imagine that getting it started in the wild card round? Oh man.
I don't know. Hey, I do want to say this series has been an absolute blast, and I really appreciate all the hard work that you put in behind the scenes. I think one of the things that we wanted to touch on this week was some of the behind the scenes stuff that you've been working on, and I think that I just want folks to know how much time and energy and effort that you put into this each week to kind of make it happen. And I am really looking forward to season 2 when it launches. I think we've got some fun things in store for everybody and kicking things up to the next level as well.
Yeah. So this idea initially started back in October. Before the new set came out, I was actually planning it in October, and then I didn't think the new set would come out till December, and then bam, they dropped that new set on us early. So I had to like kick the plans for this up in high gear because of the new cards coming, and like I really wanted to get this going in the new year. So it took a lot of time to plan it outside of like you sleep 8 hours a day, quote unquote 8 hours a day. You work 8 hours a day, and then you have 8 hours to like live your life. So within the free time, I try to plan this series out. I obviously did my market research, see what other tournament series are out there, see what works, what doesn't work. So when it comes to like putting this into effect, starting it fresh, it's not hard to get people to sign up. Where the trouble would come in is when you send a message out, is that making sure everyone receives it and that everyone understands what it means exactly. Because you will have some people, the telephone game, and this isn't like a negative thing. It's just like reality. Like you could say one message, and then 5 seconds later, it's a total different thing. So trying to not wrangle, but like just trying to get everyone on the same page and understand how things work can be a stress factor. But building a team of administrators that will work with you that already understand what the goal is very much stress relief. People such as Nate, Dr. Bomb, people such as Blase, people such as Kay. She goes by owner in Discord. Throughout the season, we'll jump in and answer questions and field problems if I'm not able to be online. So that does help. It does help having a team of people when you're commissioner. Now it's not all negative things. There are fun things. Starting the series, I know it takes a lot of work communicating with each person to make sure they have the deadlines right, their deck list submitted, make sure they know if they're what the bans are, make sure the deck lists are right. But as time moves on, I liken it to like when I work in a school. Once I successfully help a student like comprehend something, I don't have to keep going back because they already know how to do it. Now, I'm not saying that the people in the series are, I'm not saying that they're students, but it's that same energy of once like I got like 10 or 15 people, like they understood how it worked, then it became like less of a workload. So at the beginning, it was very much a huge workload, but throughout the season, once people got on board, knew how it worked, and they were able to help me answer questions to help other people, the workload became less and less. And then it became more fun because now we have more people bought into the idea, and now it can be like, hey, I'm looking for ideas for challenges for season 2. People who want to do a listener series podcast, trying to get a Born to Be Wild game show going. Like people who are in the series, people who are ex game podcast guests. Like once you get past the building block phase and the initial struggles of getting everyone to understand how things work, read the rulings page inside Discord. Make sure you submit on time. Make sure you contact your opponent within a timely manner. Set things up. Once you get people into that flow, like everything just goes really smooth, and that's when all the fun things can come out. So that's where Nate comes in and he says that he's excited for season 2, like everyone else is, because with any project, there are ups and downs. Things will be rocky, but then once you stick it out and you have a team of people who believe in you and then believe in the project, like it only gets bigger. Like this series, it's not about me. It's about I have it in the rules. Like it was created to have a great time, everyone to have fun, and the more people who sign up and play, bigger and better it gets. I'm excited for it. And to end my little piece here before someone jumps in and asks a question, I always kept a long-term vision that this would grow bigger than the initial 34 participants that signed up. So I always wanted to keep the energy inclusive and always be fair and try to ask people within the group if they like how things are going or if they see if something should change before actually making that change. And sometimes nobody said nothing. So that just showed me everyone has full confidence in the decision I would make. So I would just go for it and make it. And hey, things just keep rolling. So I'm excited for season 2, season 3, season 4. Like I just want this thing to grow. This could be a thing. Dragon Rider asked us how do standard players get into Wild. This series is built to be custom, so it's not going to be the standard Wild meta. It's not going to be the typical, the typical Wild meta, but this could be a series that people could jump into. I am trying to set up when that Nose Dormu card comes out. A little Eternal series. Details still are in the air, but like I just want this series to grow bigger and bigger and make sure it's inclusive for a lot of people. I want every and anybody to sign up when we have this series going. But yeah, that's my piece on that. If anybody wants to ask questions, jump in. I know I talked for like 3 minutes straight, and I appreciate the floor. Thank you.
We got a lot of news to cover, but one thing I did want to contribute real quick was that the idea of this tournament series was really to be kind of open to everybody and inclusive of everybody, and it's meant to be kind of a deck building experience. And so each week there's different deck building challenges, there's exclusions, and so I think for people who are looking for a Wild tournament series that's very similar to the Wild ladder meta, then Wild THL is your kind of close mirror to that. If you're looking for more of a deck building experience and challenges, and so like friendly gameplay and getting to know people and stuff, this series has been an absolute blast because we've got special rules each week. And so sometimes it's Dragon Week, sometimes it's Death Rattle Week, sometimes, it's different things, but it's been a blast. And one thing that I know Mike has worked really hard at was to be inclusive of people. And so for those people who don't have a huge collection, we're able to do some workarounds and find some ways for them to still participate. Yes. And also people can join anytime. Now, you could join at the very end of the season, and clearly, like, you're not going to make playoffs because it's point based. But there's nothing in place that says like, oh, you can't start until next season, that type of thing. And so it's really meant to be kind of a community based fun series, and I've just been really enjoying it quite a bit. So
yes. Two more things. I want to do a shout out. Thank you to challenge.com. I think I always pronounced it wrong. 5 years ago, this is what got me into custom tournaments. The person was hosting on this site. So I very much wanted to, pay my due and use this website the past 6 weeks. And going forward, I'll keep using it for our tournament series here. And then, Dragon Rider, shout out to, Amerflight Gaming. Because a little bit through the season, we had a Bitbeaker come through, and he joined the tournament series. So, shout out to Amerflight Gaming representing in the Born to Wild Listener series. Thank you.
Oh, yes, of course. And let us know when the next one is starting, because I do post in our AFG Discord, like, for, our crew behind the scenes. I post a lot of links to tournaments for us to join, so I can give them that little nudge to like, hey, like most of you play Wild, get in there. So
that'd be awesome.
Let us know.
Awesome.
Cool.
Very cool.
I like it.
All right. Well, hey, we got some kind of big news, so I want to transition over to the Hearthstone news here, and we've got a few things. So the smaller things I'm going to go through really quickly. And then we can get into the big thing this week, which was the unnerves. So first up, the Maiev Hero Portrait is back in the store. It's available for the next about 2 weeks through March 22nd. It costs $6.99, which is kind of a weird price, but whatever. I think you can also buy it for 1,000 gold. I believe it is.
Okay.
I remember when it first came out, they were giving it away for free. You had to
Yeah.
play however many standard games, and you got it for free. And now you could buy it, but whatever.
Yeah, it's the Quest Rogue portrait, right?
It is.
Yep.
Anyways, that is out if you're interested in doing that, limited time. Next up, we did get a release date for Forged in the Barrens. So Forged in the Barrens is coming out, launching March 30th. There will be a pre-launch party. What that means is the week before the release date, Blizzard will be giving away Mega Bundle codes and Twitch subs and doing Theory Craft live streams. So they've got a bunch of more of the well-known streamers, primarily streamers, doing some theory crafting streams. So all of the week before. And they will be giving away Mega Bundle codes and Twitch subs. And then the weekend after launch, they're going to be doing Twitch drops, which is kind of interesting. So the weekend of April 2nd through the 4th, Hearthstone-wide Twitch drops. So I believe it's anybody who's streaming Hearthstone, if you have drops enabled, people can earn packs from watching your stream. So that's
Easy stream title. Thanks.
right. Right. So Mike,
Twitch drop. What up?
Mike and Dawn and us on the show even here or whatever. So that'll be pretty cool. If anybody wants to open packs early, they're doing pre-release events like they always do. So the weekend before, they extended it so it's between March 26th and 29th. You can host a fireside gathering at your house or whatever and open your packs early. And there's going to be some special brawls that you can play. I'm a little bit disappointed because we found out that the full reveal stream is like the Tuesday before the show, so it doesn't give us very much time to review the cards, and so we'll figure out a way to do some kind of card review thing. I'm not quite sure what that's going to look like yet, but we'll see. Everything is like really condensed into the next couple of weeks here. But yeah, anyways, new card hype. The thing that I'm super excited about is we got some card changes this week, and where this really affects Wild is that they unnerfed a whole mess of cards. Before we jump into those, there's one card that is getting nerfed that I do want to chat about real quick, and a giant shout out to Imic for all of the graphics here. Imic reached out and created graphics for all of the cards that were changing and got me high-res copies of them, and it was very, very, very helpful. One thing I do want to say very quickly is for those of you listening to the audio version of this show, I highly recommend watching the video version because we've got graphics on the screen. And yeah, you can see what the card is now and what the card is changing to, visual comparison. And so I personally recommend that. We'll describe it for the audio listeners, but something that I prefer to see myself. So the one card that is getting nerfed is Ysera, and this is affecting both the existing version that will be in Wild and the new version in the core set. The card itself is not getting nerfed. It's the dream cards that she generates. And so there are 4 dream cards that are changing, and to go through them very quickly, the first one is Dream, previously a 0 mana, return a minion to its owner's hand. Now is nerfed, cost 1 mana, and return an enemy minion to your opponent's hand. So that's different. They have given it, they've tagged it as a nature spell now as well. So that'll be interesting. Next up is Laughing Sister. Actually got a buff. Previously was a 3 mana 3/5. Can't be targeted by spells or hero powers. Is now a 2 mana 3/5. And so that's kind of cool. We've got Nightmare. Previously was a 0 mana, give a minion +5/+5. At the start of your next turn, destroy it, and it got reduced to give a minion +4/+4, and with the tag of a shadow spell. And then the final nerf was to Ysera Awakens. This was a 2 mana spell, deal 5 damage to all characters except Ysera. It increased by 1 mana and now can only affect minions. So it's 3 mana, deal 5 to all minions except Ysera as a nature spell. So I don't know. I think briefly my thought on these changes are that Ysera generally does not see a whole lot of play in Wild anyways, aside from when we discover her off of like Discover a Dragon spells, in which case it's a value generator. And with that in mind, I don't see this as a really that big of a change for Wild. Like, if I discover her off of something, I'm still happy to discover her off of something, and the change in these isn't that big. I will say getting surprise lethal with Ysera Awakens was kind of cool, and a little bit sad that we can't do that anymore. But overall, I don't see a very big impact for Wild. Dragon Rider.
I don't feel bad that I dusted my original golden one now years ago. I do not feel bad anymore. That chain is gone. I'm unchained. Yes.
Hey, there you go. Dragon Rider. Do you see this as as impactful to Standard at all?
I mean, a little bit. Kind of like you said, it doesn't get like a ton of play. I'm not sure people might try it just because it has changed, but unless there's some like super great reason to run her, I don't think people are going to be including her a lot. But I will say, I feel like the most impactful change is to the Ysera Awakens not hitting damage to face. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that also just kind of aligns with a lot of the other changes that they've made and even what they're putting in the core set, because it seems like they are kind of bringing down the amount of burst potential for a lot of things. So this really just reflects that same change. And I think if Ysera does get played, that is where people will see the biggest change.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. Hydra, do you have any thoughts on this?
Not especially. It's a fine card. It's something budget players can throw in and play if it's the dragon they got from their classic pack dragon that they get. I don't think it's that impactful for Wild and in general, because we don't have it seeing play, so it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah. Mike, any thoughts before we move on to the nerfs, or the unnerfs rather?
All I want to be, I just want to cry, like, my baby, no. No. Yo, it's so random, but like, I have a goofy deck. I like playing Big Priest with Ysera, and just like a 5/5 Ysera with like mad spells off Ysera, and they just get mad. It generates. Listen, going face, I'm gonna miss that part where now it just hits minions. That's my favorite one. So, yeah. Sad face.
Yeah.
Let's talk about happy stuff. Let's make me happy. Let's go.
All right, sounds good. So, I think one of the interesting things about all of the changes and stuff that we've seen coming up is that specifically for Wild is that they're reverting nerfs or unnerfing a whole mess of cards that really impact Wild only. And so I'm excited here. We've got a whole mess of them to go through, and so I've got very little to say on most of them, but a couple of them I think will have a pretty significant impact. So going in order, starting with Druid. The first one up is Keeper of the Grove, reverting back to it had been nerfed to a 4-mana 2/2, and it's just back now to a 2-mana 2/4. Choose one, deal 2 damage, or silence a minion. I don't see any real impact in Wild at all personally. I know nobody's playing this card anyways. Once in a blue moon, you get like a discover a choose one card, and it can be like a utility card based on the silence, but I don't. Yeah, they didn't change the mana cost. I guess that was something that got nerfed last time. I don't know. I think this was targeted at a point where they were looking at cards that silenced other minions as being too powerful. And I don't see any real impact at all. I don't know. Dragon Rider, do you have any thoughts on this change? Or what are your thoughts in general on the unnerfs before we get started? How does this impact your world?
Yeah, I feel like it will impact a decent amount, just because it's going to change up. There's less cards to play in Standard, and so some of these are going to have a bigger impact because there's less cards to choose from. But things like this, I feel like it's probably not going to get played, but you might play it for silence for like things like Edwin, that's also getting changed back. But it's probably just not. It's not getting slotted in. It's something that's like you discover this to silence, and that's about it. Like you might take it off of a discover effect. So I don't know. Overall, it's cool that there's going to be this shakeup, but I'm honestly a little curious to see what will become popular, because I feel like in standard it's probably going to be a lot of aggro, and I don't know if I'm ready for that.
That's sort of my hot take on what it will be for Wild as well. I mean, historically, the big, I don't know, like the Cabal classes, your Priest, Mage, and Warlock kind of reign supreme in Wild, and the stuff that's getting unnerved will give the aggro decks more of a chance, and so that'll shake things up a little bit. Mike, you have any thoughts on this card?
Yeah, I just remember like back when there was a phase in time where the silence effect was too strong, and like this was actually playable or played in that time period. If there's less cards in standard, maybe this sees some play. But like you guys were talking about, at the start of every new wave, it's aggro city for like at least like 2 weeks. So, I maybe in the second phase when like things slow down and people start to make new decks, but initially no.
Yeah, Hydra, any thoughts?
For Wild, there's way more powerful things you can do with Druid for 4 mana.
Yeah.
Like filling your entire board and buffing it and stuff like that. So, I mean, like turn 4, put a 2/4 down is not exactly what I want to be doing. So, I don't think anyone's gonna play it.
All right, very good. Next up, we've got Ancient of Lore. It is retaining its mana cost, 7 mana, 5/5, changing to. It currently exists as draw 1 card or restore 5 health. Is reverting to choose 1, draw 2 cards or restore 5 health. Again, this is something that hasn't seen play in years, so I see 0 impact on this in terms of Wild. Mike, any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, same here. At the point in time we're at, like, nah, he needs to draw like 4 cards. That's nothing, yo. Nothing. You're only drawing 2? Weak.
Yeah. Don't we play like stuff like Overflow, Ultimate Infestation, that kind of thing? Yeah.
Yeah.
No good.
Yeah, Don, any thoughts on this card?
Yeah, pretty much the same in standard too. Like there's other things you play for draw. This is not great.
Yeah. All right, well, let's not waste any time on it then. Moving on, that's it for Druid. So just these 2 cards. There's a handful in Hunter. So this is where things start to get a little bit interesting. Not a ton, but a little bit interesting. And there's some crossover later with the neutrals that affect Hunter quite a bit. But for the Hunter class specific, first up I've got Starving Buzzard. It was a 5 mana 3/2. Whenever you summon a beast, draw a card. It's being changed to now a 2 mana 2/1. Whenever you summon a beast, draw a card. So this turns into a relatively easy draw engine for the Hunter class. Thank you, kiddo. I still think that. Thanks. I still think that it's. I don't know. I mean, I'm not really a Hunter player, but for this cheap of mana, like you could potentially see some things. I'm interested for someone like Duin or Sidisi or one of these people to really dig in and do something crazy with this card, because honestly, Hunter sees so little play in Wild aside from like Wild Card and Duin playing it, that it'll be fun to kind of see it again on ladder. Don, what do you think about this?
I think it's pretty interesting, and I feel like people are definitely going to be experimenting with this in standard. I think I've even heard talk about people trying like Quest Hunter again, with like summoning a bunch of, because it just says when you summon, so you don't have to play the beast. So putting out some 1/1s with Rush or something like that can get you some card draw. So that tends to make things that are more aggro a little bit better. So I can see some people trying things like that. I don't know how good it's going to be, but it's definitely going to be tried.
One of the things that historically Hunter has not had is card draw. I mean, if you type in your collection manager draw, There's like, and there's almost nothing there. What is it? The 2 mana 3 attack. I don't know what it's called even. That if you have no cards in your hand, draw a card. But like this with Unleash the Hounds or something like that, like you there's some potential here. So, quick shot. Yeah, thank you. Hyder, do you have any thoughts on this?
I think that it's going to be pretty cool to play against Odd Paladin. If you want to drop this and Unleash the Hounds, and then you can, I don't know, either go face or you can wreck their board and completely fill your hand up. So I think that's pretty sweet. I'm definitely going to try that. I think that's awesome. I'm really glad that they are the Hearthstone team is, because we got a few Hunter ones, and I'm glad that they're trying. It looks like they're trying to make Hunter viable in Wild. Well, wait and see if it happens, but this is a really good start. I like it.
Yeah, I agree. Mike, you have any thoughts on this?
I think it's cool. As much as Hunter is a joke now, there was a time where a couple of times Hunter was like the best, trying to be the best, and they just kept like slapping him down, and like it got to a point where he sort of just beat up where like none of the cards are good. So if they're just like resuscitating and like, all right, buddy, come on, buddy, come on back. Like if they're gonna make some of these cards good, that's great. Because in the first like 3 or 4 days, I'm definitely gonna be playing some Thief Priest and just steal a bunch of cards, and like definitely, can't wait to steal this with Unleash the Hounds or summon some beasts. You know what I'm saying? Have some fun with it. I'm excited for Hunter because I want to steal their cards now.
That's pretty funny. Okay, next up we've got Flare. So Flare's currently 2 mana, changing to 1 mana. It's interesting. I remember at one time as a hunter, you would play Flare just to draw a card,
Yeah.
because there's no other card draw. But lately with Secret Mage like running rampant on the Wild Ladder, the few people that do play Hunter, like you just run Flare now. But so at 1 mana, this is, I mean, it doesn't seem bad to me. I'm still quite not quite sure what this will do. I don't know. What do you think, Dawn? Do you have any thoughts on this? I see that Secret Rogue is sort of a thing, right, in Standard?
Yeah, actually, it's kind of funny you're talking about Secret Mage. I don't know what it was, but today when I was playing on Europe, actually yesterday and today, it felt like that's all I was seeing at Diamond 5. It was just Secret Mages all over the place. And so today I tried to make some... it was so bad. I don't try it, anybody. But I made some like awful like Secret Hunter and tried to put in Flare. And I'm sad that it was 2. I would love to play it at 1, but I feel like especially in Standard, where people see Flare the most right now is actually from Zephyrus. And so I think not only just from Flare, but this is going to throw people off so hard when trying to play Zephyrus, because all of these cards that they're so used to, like, okay, I need to dedicate this much mana for Zephyrus, it's going to be all thrown off. And I'm waiting for all of the screenshots people are going to post, and then, oh no, I messed this up because they forgot the mana changed. Yeah. So that's what I'm looking forward to seeing.
I will say that I think
that's so smart.
You made probably the best point that I forgot to bring up before we started all of this, is even the cards that you wouldn't normally play, like, because these are core set cards or whatever, like, these will all be discoverable from Zephyrs, and everybody plays Zephyrs in Wild. Like, it's all over the place. And so even if you think that the change to this card may not affect you, it will. And so I think the Zephyrs piece is something really good to keep in mind. Yeah. Mike, do you have any thoughts on this card?
Nope. Dragon Rider just melted my brain with the Zeph talk. So less is more. That was beautiful.
Hydra, what do you think?
Cheaper is better. It's half the cost. 1 mana is really, really cheap, so that's great. Don't know how much play it'll see. All depends on the meta, but I like it. It's great. So if they keep unnerfing stuff like this, I'm happy, especially for us Wild players.
Yeah. Okay, next up is Dino Tamer Bran. We kind of knew this one was coming not too long ago.
Yeah.
It got nerfed from 7 to 8, and they said that they were going to revert it back to 7 when it rotated. And
My bad.
I mean, in Wild, we have the original Bran, and so that was for people who were playing like Reno Hunter. You could play Bran into Dino Tamer Bran and pull 2 King Crushes. And so that sort of ruined some people's day when this got nerfed, and so it going back is kind of them making things right again. I don't have any real thoughts on this aside from like, okay, good. They said they were going to revert it, and they're reverting it, so that's great. I don't know. Mike, any thoughts on this?
When I showed my girlfriend this card one day, she was like, "Oh, Vikings on dinosaurs." But then I showed her the double brand, 2 King Crushes, lethal. Yeah, so yeah, I'm glad it's going back.
Vikings on dinosaurs. That should be its flavor text.
That's pretty funny. He's right. He does look kind of like one of the lost Vikings. It's pretty funny. Hydra, do you have any thoughts on this?
I've got nothing profound to say. I like that they just stuck to their word and they reverted it, and they told us they were going to do it ahead of time, and they did it. So great. It's a cool card, and I'm just really glad people can play the card again. So
yeah.
Now, I'm just gonna humble brag and say that I hit Legend on both NA and Asia this month and last month with Highlander Hunter, even at 8 mana. Because that's like my big, it's my bay right now. So
nice.
I'm glad to see this being reverted, but at the same time, it's like, well, I already did it, and now you're gonna change it at the end, like, and that makes me sad.
Yeah. This card has so much flavor. It's really fun. You see the whip crack and the King Crush jumps out. Oh my god!
I love the animation on it.
Yeah.
Like when someone plays it, even if you're about to lose to it, like you can't get mad. Like you just hear the whips, whoosh, whoosh, King Crush comes out. It's like, all right, you got me.
Right? Or even when people play King Crush, you see like the footprints, like stomp, 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 and the people just concede like before he even drops. But yeah, Bran is pretty spicy right there. Okay, so the last Hunter card we have is a change to Hunter's Mark. This says change a minion's health to 1. Previously it was at 2 mana. Now it's being reverted to 1 mana. So, I don't know. I don't really have any thoughts on this. Dawn, do you have any thoughts?
Not really. I mean, it saw some play before, so it might see some again. It's not a terrible option, especially because there's a couple of tools they recently added. So maybe that'll make a couple other cards like Bola Shot a little better or something. But I'm not sure if we'll see play or not.
That's some good insight though. Things that potential board clear. Yeah.
As far as I know, this isn't a complete full revert, right? It was 0 mana originally.
Yeah,
it's a cost.
It was 0. Yeah.
Which you could just squeeze in anywhere. So it being 1 mana is way worse than it being 0. But I mean, you end up floating mana sometimes, even though you don't want to. But 1 mana to be able to do something like this is pretty good. So I like it.
Yeah, Mike, any thoughts?
Yeah, I come from the days of when it would cost 0, so I'm just too used to Unleash the Hounds to match your board, and then 0 mana your gigantic thing to 1, and then just proceed to plow through it for lethal. But yeah, I wish it cost 0. I get it.
One is not bad. I mean, I think that historically they had a tendency, at least in the earlier days when they were nerfing cards, they would nerf them to the point of like unplayability. And these days it seems like they're a little bit more reserved when they happen. And so a change from 0 to 2 was like, whoa, okay, we can't play this anymore. Where at 1 it would be acceptable, like we could still play it, it'd be fine. And so some changes like this, like we don't see a full revert, but we see a more balanced version. In my opinion, I think is just fine. Speaking of reversion without a complete change, we move over into Mage, and my good friend the Mana Worm is going back to 1 mana. So
Speaking of aggro,
Right, in the old days, it was what is it? Was a 1 mana 1/3, right? And then they changed it to 2 mana 1/3, and now it's being reverted to a 1 mana 1/2. But like original tempo mage way back in the day, like this is like one of my favorite cards of old. And so without the health, I think it's still good. At 1 mana, like this is a great 1 mana card. So I'm not quite sure where it fits in mage decks these days, but it's a solid 1-drop. So I like it. Dragon Rider, do you have any thoughts on this?
I personally feel like this is the change they should have made in the first place.
Yeah.
Instead of moving it to 2 mana, like I feel like this was just the better change. So I'm glad to see it now. Yeah, it'll be probably still pretty scary. Like in standard right now, there's already people playing a lot of like the spell damage mage and some really like low curve and low cost stuff. And so I'm not really looking forward to seeing mana worms back in play, but I think people will definitely be trying it.
Mike, any thoughts?
Yo, yeah, reverts like this are ones that keep me in check, keep me humble, because I gotta call myself out. As much as I like to play cards that I never really play, I have not played a single mana worm since the day they changed it.
Yeah, no, neither have I.
I was like, what's the point? It costs 2. So for it to cost 1 again, I'm ready to go back. Mana worm, Sorcerer's Apprentice, and now we have Conjure Biscuit, so now we could pop off that and a whole bunch of other one cost spells. Another worm, it's back, man. I love it.
Yeah, I'm really happy about this because when I very first made my free-to-play EU account, it was a tempo mage that I had made, and I had put all my dust into that, and it ran. I had crafted Stargazer Luna when that card came out to put in there for like a draw engine, and I was so happy, and I was playing this deck that was viable, and then they killed my mana worm, and it was the only deck I had. The only deck that I had on the EU, and it was just gone. I literally spent all my dust, and then it was just gone. And I was like, really? So that's a feels bad moment for people that are free to play when you have one deck and it's gone.
Yeah. Hey,
so I'm happy we can play it again. So
real quick, did I miss Lock and Load? Did something change to Lock and Load?
Lock and Load.
I mean, the mana cost is being reduced, but it's part of the core set. It's not like a specific unnerf that they're talking about.
I see. Okay, interesting. Well, I don't know. I mean, I remember playing, they called it Yogg and Load, right? Where we put just a whole bunch of spells and put Yogg-Saron in the deck, and it being an absolute blast. So that'll be fun. Okay, next up is Conjurer's Calling. So this was previously at 4 mana, twin spell, destroy a minion, summon 2 minions of the same cost to replace it, being reduced to 3. I remember this terrorizing the standard ladder at one point when people were dropping these giant minions, and then you have Khadgar out and you play this and you get this huge board. I haven't seen it in Wild in like forever, but I don't know. There's some interesting potential here. Yeah, I don't know. I'll start with you, Mike. Do you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, you just caught me off guard. I didn't know that was going down at 3. That's pretty sweet. I see Mediocre Ogre in chat. We had a match the other day on stream. Yesterday it was pretty crazy. Yeah, this card, I like playing it on cards, that cost more. If you get the chance, like freeze a board or play a Frost Nova. I'm sorry, Ray of Frost. You can freeze more things. I like this. Hey, this card costs cheaper. That's awesome. This card is cool.
I feel like there's going to be times that you discover this and your opponent's going to be pretty mad.
Oh, yo, Matt, you can now find this in Magic Trick.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's a
and you,
thing.
and yeah, you can get duplicates whatever you want on your board, whether it be giants because you're playing like a quest mage or like whatever. In maybe you weren't quite there for lethal, and you can make yourself actually there for lethal when you do time warp. Could be a thing.
Ah,
Give yourself an extra minion.
sure. Yeah, Dragon Rider, any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I like this a lot. It really didn't see play in standard after it went to 4, so I think it will see play, and especially like you already mentioned, it can be discovered a little bit easier too. So that's going to be pretty interesting. I think maybe we'll start to see a little bit of experimentation in Mage again, or people put it back in Highlander Mage for the week or so that we see these cards in standard before they go away. But yeah,
Right.
I'm
that's
kind of excited for
that's
it.
another good point. I believe that these are happening about a week before the new set drops or the new rotation. I think that's right. I haven't
March
seen
Madness.
Yeah, I haven't seen a confirmed date, but that's my understanding. So there will be kind of a week of madness there.
Yeah.
Okay, next up is Dragon Caster moving from 7 mana to 6. So it's a 4/4 battle cry. If you're holding a dragon, your next spell this turn costs 0. So reducing it down. I remember people. I could be wrong. I didn't play a lot of it, but I believe that people were playing this in Reno Mage with Luna's Pocket Galaxy to play Luna's for 0. And then when it got nerfed, it was just too expensive. I don't remember what the original cost was, but this definitely has some potential, I think.
Yeah, you could also do Yogg Box.
Oh God!
6.
Oh
Yeah.
wow!
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Gross.
So ready.
Yeah, I think that's the fun part of this card.
Yeah, Mike. Any thoughts?
Wait, so Hydralisk said you could play Yogg Box on 6.
Yeah.
I just want to say, you could play what's our buddy called? Escape Mana Saber.
Oh.
And then you could probably play it on 5. Not to be that guy, but I'm excited for this
coin
card.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the coin.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course. I'm sorry. Sorry, Dragon Rider. I'm the greedy guy. I always assume when I talk, I have coin. I'm always talking with coin. Sorry. I shouldn't, but I do.
Make sure you got that order right because it says your next spell. don't accidentally. Or I guess
God,
you can't.
yeah. Don't
You
play.
got to coin.
You could accidentally try to squeeze something in and coin and be like, oh crap.
I feel you.
What did I do wrong there?
Why
Concede?
isn't this working? Live on stream.
What did I do? I try to be fancy or something. You're trying to squeeze in a hero power, so you put a coin in there. I don't know. It could happen.
Also, Pox on 5. Can't wait
Oh,
for a week.
wow.
March Madness.
All right. Anyone have any other thoughts on this before I move on to the last mage card? No. Cool. All right. Last mage card is Wormweaver. So this previously was a 5 mana 3/6 spellburst summon 2/1/3 mana worms. The mana cost is going down to 4. The health is going down to 5, so it's now a 4 mana 3/5 with spellburst summon 2 mana worms, and of course now the mana worms are 1/2s. So overall reduction. And I don't know. It's interesting. I never have really played with this card before, but just at the vanilla stats, a 4 mana 3/5 is pretty good. So I don't know. Maybe we'll see some play. I'm really not sure. I don't feel like I'm really qualified to talk on it so much. Dragon Rider, do you have any thoughts on this?
I feel like the biggest change is going to be not getting this off of Jandis Barov anymore.
Oh,
I wanted to
Not a
say it.
5
Oh, you're so
anymore.
smart. That's so good. That's so good.
Yeah, so it's not going
Expert
to be
reviewer.
offered that from anymore, which people would get kind of free mana worms from that, right? You play Jandis and then this pops out, and then you trigger the spell burst and get free mana worms when that happens, but that's not going to be an option anymore.
Yeah. Ouch. Okay. That's that's a really good insight. I hadn't considered that at all. Hydra, any thoughts?
Well, I mean, just for the value at 4 mana, if you have any 0 mana spells, which we play Wild, there's lots of 0 mana spells. Like this, I feel like you can get those mana worms out, and you could possibly definitely grow them with all your 0 mana spells. So I actually think it's pretty good when we compare it to other like 4 mana cards that we're going to talk about soon. A good 4 mana card that puts 3 bodies on the board. It's a good card. Are we going to play it? Time will see. But you look at the stats, it's good.
Yeah. Mike, any thoughts?
I've like Nate said, I've never played this card, or I guess quick look at it. What you could be cute, coining it out. If you already played Biscuit, you got the 0 mana Biscuit, and you play it. Now there's 2 worms, something else. I don't know. Dragon Rider had the deep insight. That's a deep corner 3 swish. Yeah, you can't get off Jandis. Like that's all I thought. I was like, yeah, that's not a 5 anymore. I've seen it happen in Rogue. Like Dr. Fish said in chat. What's up, Dr. Fish? Yeah, I've seen Rogues get this off of Jandis and just go crazy with the worms. So
yeah, that's dangerous. All right, that's it for the mage reverts. So Paladin only got 1 nerf revert. But this is a big one. So Call to Arms is going back to what it was before. So Call to Arms says recruit 3 minions that cost 2 or less. They nerfed it a while back to 5 mana and it's reverting to 4. This one has a special place in my heart because the first time I ever hit Legend was with Egg Paladin with Call to Arms, and this card is crazy good. And so I think at least in Wild, the only Paladin that anybody is really playing is Odd Paladin, and you don't run Call to Arms in that. It never made sense. And this, I mean, there's a couple other, you can play Mech Paladin, you can play some like Holy Wrath Shavala OTK type Paladin stuff. You can play some mechs, but like they're a lot less common. And I think that this potentially opens up a handful of new archetypes. I think that we can see Egg Paladin come back. We could see Even Paladin come back. And I'm just really excited for it. This was like a crazy awesome card. And so I can't wait. I don't know what's going to happen with it, but I'm excited for this one in particular. Mike, you're our kind of resident Paladin expert. What do you think?
I love being a Paladin lover. For a long time, I'm like, man, Paladin's cool, but these cards are not as strong as the other ones. So at least they threw us a bone. I think this is sweet. We can play the old Even Paladin, and then there's a whole bunch of new cards that got introduced since then. So I'm ready. Like Ari Moore said in chat right now, let all the Even Paladin deck lists fly in. Dragon Rider, you a fan of Paladin? Wink, wink.
Oh yeah, Paladin and Hunter are my 2 favorite classes.
Yeah, I knew it. Sorry, I'm cheating. I'm excited for this.
Yeah, I'm hyped on this too. I love doing it where like if you have Knife Juggler on the board and you play this, or Knife Juggler comes out as one of the first cards. Like it's just yeah, like it's so good.
I think I lost a ridiculous hat like that in a tournament game or something.
That's
like, put
funny.
this apple in your head. Game. I was like, damn.
I really think that for such a long time, people have been complaining because the meta in Wild has been really polarized with mostly warlocks and priests and mages, and so giving buffs to other classes, like give them a time to shine or make those decks a little bit more viable. In my mind, the solution was never like nerf everything, but it's like buff other stuff will give everything else a little bit of a run for its money. And so I'm excited for stuff like this. I think this is great. So this is the only buff that Paladin got. And then speaking of only one buff, I'm really excited for this next one. It's the Priest card, Power Word Shield. I've misplayed so many times since they changed this because I was so used to this always drawing a card that they completely changed the card. Like for a while now, it's been 0 mana, give a minion +2 health and nothing else. And so in Wild, it's kind of been useless, and they're putting it back to what it used to be, which is a 1 mana, give a minion +2 and draw a card. And so this card is awesome. Like, this immediately slots back into my Reno Priest, of course, but I think Mike is super excited about this to play your Divine Shield Inner Fire Paladin, right?
Oh, I'm just excited for this card. Who had said it earlier? I think it was you, Nate, about Yogg Spellhunter, or no, Yogg. What was it? Yogg and Load. Yeah. So I got a priest version of that, and Power Word Shield. I'm in the waiting room. I cannot wait until this card is unlocked. Like this card, I love it. Obviously early game, but like I just can't wait. I just can't wait. It always costs 0. What's the elemental called for priest? Like 2 mana. Radiant Elemental. Yeah, hitting that. You know what I'm saying? Gadgets in. And like, got the best deals anywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just draw, just cycle through your deck. It's crazy. Priest is already a good class, so you can fit in any kind of board clears and just buy your time until you get to the Yogg. Like, I've already been doing it on stream, so I'm just waiting until this card changes back. Like, this is just turbo cycle. I'm so excited for this card.
Yeah, Wild needed this card back, and I didn't play it. I don't know how many people did. Did anybody play this card after the nerf? Because I actually, like you said, Nate, I discovered it or got it off a random effect or something like that, and then like, ooh, play it. Oh,
this is one that I keep misplaying. Like, I keep forgetting that it got nerfed and being really disappointed. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm just happy it's back.
Me too. Why'd they change it? Never mind.
You Dragonheart, you have any thoughts on this?
It's going to be a little gross and standard for the week that it's there when used in combo with like discovering or generating a bunch of spells. They're going to be able to cycle even more, which kind of just to reflect and say basically the same thing. Like even though it's leaving standard, like this, it did not feel great without the draw. So it's a change. I'm really happy to see that.
By the way, I'll have to share the deck list in the Discord, but over the past week, I lost to... It seems like it's got to be this deck that you're talking about, Mike, where it was a priest deck with the Radiant Elementals and Gadget and Auctioneer, and it was like, draw a card, draw a card, draw a card, draw a card, and then hit me for a bunch of spell damage out of nowhere. I have the deck list from HS Replay because this person like drew their entire deck and killed me in one turn. I was so confused. And like I lost in such style that I saved the replay so I could look at it later. And we'll have to try it out. I've got it here and we can mess around with it later. But anyways. Definitely. Lots of other stuff to get through, so let's just move on. Next up is Blade Flurry. This is we're now into Rogue. So Blade Flurry had been nerfed to cost 4 mana. It's now been reduced to 2. Although the condition that it could only damage enemy minions is still there, and so I think it would have been really polarizing. Like, you guys remember back in the day that this used to do face damage? That was something.
Oh yeah.
This would be way too crazy. This would be way too crazy.
In the face, I used to hate that.
Oh, can you imagine 2 mana and face damage? Like, this would just be slotted into Kingsbane so fast, and yeah. So I mean, it's interesting because we saw Smudge playing this when she was on the show a few months back. Like we put it in as a one of when there were a lot of like board centric decks coming in that this could be used to clear the board, and we had tried it at 4 mana and it was so right. I think it was she said it was kind of a flex spot and she was experimenting with it, but at 2, like I wonder if this now goes back. I don't know. I mean, she's the expert. I'd have to ask her, but it's interesting. I'm not quite sure what to make of it. I'm hardly the expert, but I don't know.
I think it's worth a shot anyway, like just to give it a try, because you could just wreck their board and go face with everything you have. So I like it. It might be just a one of in Kingsbane. It might be worth it.
Can you imagine this with poison or with lifesteal or something like that? Like it could be kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get the gears turning.
Right. I don't know. I'll have to think about it a little bit more.
I'm kind of curious with them not changing it dealing face damage again. I kind of spoke on this earlier, but they really seem to be just going in on trying not to have as much stuff that deals face damage like from hand, as much burst and stuff. Which I do wonder if that's going to make board more relevant. So then maybe this gets a little better. I'm not sure because again, I'm not that into Wilds. Like I don't know the depth of it, but it does make me wonder if cards like this or this concept will become a little bit more relevant in the future.
Yeah. All right, moving along, we have a card here that has been nerfed like 15 times. And so this, the Caverns Below, the original Quest Rogue quest is reverting to what it used to be, which just blows my mind. I'm so excited to play this now. Over the past week, I've heard so much outcry, like, "Oh my god!" But I don't think I don't think it's gonna be as crazy as everybody thinks. I mean, I think the quest is pretty easy to complete, but people have been going a little berserk with the the worry train on this one, but I'm pretty excited for it. So this is the Caverns Below is reverting to what it used to be. So the quest is play 4 minions with the same name, and the reward Crystal Core is now for the rest of the game your minions are 5/5. So this had been reverted to it was play 5 minions of the same name, and for the rest of the game your minions are 4/4. And so they've kind of flopped it now. So it costs less or less minions to play, and now they're buffed more. So this is kind of crazy, and I'm excited to play it. I have heard a lot of outcry over the past week, and my personal opinion is that because they have been removing charge, like Stone Tusk Boar died for this, and so I'm just excited to goof around with it and try it. I don't think it's going to be any kind of tier 1 thing, but I think it will kind of get put back into the rotation. That's my 2 cents anyways. Hydra, you're kind of the rogue main here. Do you have any thoughts on this?
I played this card like back when it first came out in its original form, and I absolutely loved the Quest Rogue. I know a lot of people weren't a big fan of it, but I really like thinking and planning how you're going to do it. And yes, Boar not being there. I mean, we did talk about how they may actually fix that, and maybe Boar still does exist in Wild. We haven't fully heard what's happening, but this isn't hard to complete. It really isn't at 4. Like, do you remember how quick people used to do this in the past? Just a couple turns in, and then so what's the pirate that gives you the 2 pirates in your hand now?
The Flybooter.
Flybooter. So you just shadow step that once, and you have the 4 minions. Like, you literally need to get 2 cards. You need to get the Flybooter, and you need to have shadow step, and then you can complete this. So,
yeah, it'll be interesting.
I mean, the one thing with when you're playing quests that the problem is your mulligan, because you already have the quest that's in your mulligan. You can't get rid of that, or else you're hooped, right? So that's the downside to playing quest deck. So you're gonna have to really, really dig for that combo right at the very beginning to get those cards. But it could be a thing. I'm not saying it's gonna be good, but I love that it's being reverted and people are gonna play it. And people playing it, the ladder experience is just fun when there's different decks. So I'm happy.
It definitely will be a change from seeing like the only rogue decks right now. It's like Kingsbane or Odd Rogue. Over the last couple weeks or so, we've seen a resurgence of Mill Rogue, and then we've seen people start playing this like funky Major Domo Tess Rogue, which I saw you brought Hydra, and I've been watching Concern Mom play it all week. Anyways, this is gonna be a fun one to watch for us. Mike, do you have any thoughts on the Rogue Quest revert?
All right. So couple years ago, me, Nate, and Craig, we made a song called "All of the Nerfs." There were some cards within that song we talked about. I just put it in chat right here in case somebody wants to watch it. These cards seem to be off the list now. Nate, do you remember this song? It was kind of funny because like I'm listening to it right now, and like I hear myself rapping, and I'm like, they forgot to nerf Stone Tusk Boar. Bam, that got changed. You know what I'm saying? It's like one of these lines. It's funny as hell.
Oh my goodness!
I'm talking about like Crystal Core nerf got nerfed twice by devs. It just doesn't matter. Like it's back, man.
That's
oh my
hilarious.
goodness.
Yeah.
Like Naga Sea, which is still gone, right? Thank God. All right, that's gone. But Dark Pact only heals 4. It doesn't heal 8. That's good. So this card is crazy. It's back, man. We literally made a rap song when they nerfed it, so it's like it's back. It's crazy.
Yeah, good times.
It's gonna be everywhere.
Yeah. Don, did you play this a lot when it was back in standard?
No, I hated it. I'm not gonna lie, I hated it. I was in the crowd that just hated it. I hated playing it. I hated playing against it.
Yep.
So for me, I'm like, maybe I don't need to go play Wild if this is back. But maybe, if it's not that good, it's not a thing. Like, it's okay then.
Yeah, we'll see. I think it's going to be, the new hotness for a week or two while people want to like try it out and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And then it will kind of die down a little bit more. So we'll see. I think this next one has some interesting potential as well. So we have Necrium Apothecary. It was a 5 mana 2/5 going down to a 4 mana 2/5. Combo, draw a Death Rattle minion from your deck and gain its Death Rattle. There is, I remember back in the day when Dane first played his like big rogue list, and there's some crazy stuff that you can do with this. Between I don't know. There's you can cheat out giant minions. You can cheat out a bunch of dragons. You can do all kinds of stuff with this. So reducing it by 1 mana, I think, is pretty significant. Actually, I'm not the best deck builder. I'm more of a pilot personally, but I am anticipating somebody like Labore Sangre really doing a number with this, and I think that there's a lot of potential to shake things up with this card. Big Rogue plays a lot like any of the other like Q Block or Big Shaman or Big Priest or one of those, where the idea is you cheat out giant stuff early, and there's some crazy things that you can do with this, especially the Deathwing Dragon Lord that you can trigger with this and then drop a full board of giant dragons.
Animations.
So we'll see. I'm excited to kind of see this, and I can already picture myself raging when somebody uses this against me. So we'll see.
Yeah, Labore did play quite a bit of this. I remember watching him play the Deathwing Dragon Lord combo with this, and when it goes off, it goes off. At the same time, it's one of those decks that you need to high roll it, and if you whiff, you whiff, and you're kind of screwed, and you got all these big minions that you have to, if you can make it to whatever turn that they cost for that mana, then you can start playing them, but you're kind of screwed by that point. But it's definitely a high roll, but and being a 5 mana, it was too slow, but it can be really, really dirty and just really fun to pull off. So I welcome it back.
Mike, thoughts?
Now that it's 4 mana, it's pushing its contention with my favorite 4 mana rogue card, Cobalt Illusionist. I just like that voice line, like "Ooh, monsters behind you," and the Malagos come down and end your life. So this card at 4 mana now can also summon crazy dragon combos too. So it's pretty cool. That when it does the Deathwing animation and they all come out, like, it's crazy. Like the first time I saw this, man, I was like in awe. I can't wait to watch whoever streams this.
Right. Dragon Rider, any thoughts?
Not really on this one. This one was kind of, for me, always something that's like, it was okay. I don't know.
This is more of an impact to Wild, I think, than anything.
Yeah. I'm curious to see how people use it, or if people use it, because it's a cool card and I like the design of it, but I'm just looking forward to see what actually happens with it.
Yeah. All right. Our last rogue card here. No, two more. Sorry. Next up is Galakron. So they had changed Galakron the Nightmare to when you drew the cards, they cost 1, and they're being reverted now to cost 0 again, which I'm totally fine with. I'm fine with that. I think that it's not a heavily played archetype in Rogue, and personally, I really enjoyed Galakron Rogue, so I think that that'll be fun. It is Galakron is still in Standard, right? For a little while.
Yeah, until the rotation happens.
So this will be in Standard for about a week. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited for this. I don't have any problem with it. I don't think that it significantly changes anything in Wild, but I'm totally fine with it. I'm kind of looking forward to it, honestly. Anyone else have thoughts on this card?
Who pays mana for cards? I'm ready. Love
Not Rogue.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I just think it's something that Wild needs stuff that's kind of broken to compete with the other broken things, right? So let's do it. Like if this helps another archetype, maybe it won't see play, but if it does, like it's just something else people can experiment with, right? Like 0 mana cards are the best type of cards. So let's do it.
You know what? You say that until someone plays zero mana cards against you, and you're like, "Oh, that's not fair."
My God.
It's true.
Oh
It's
my
true.
God.
Like Flamewaker, stop hitting me. Stop playing 0 mana cards. Yes,
Seriously.
it's true. I do hate 0 mana cards, but they are the best. So
Hey, if this
The
is
best
going
when
back
you
to
play
COD
them,
0.
the worst when your opponent does.
yeah,
Oh yeah,
exactly. That's how that works.
that's how the feelings are.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll put some heavy cost cards back in this deck. I'll get that high roll. It's a good feeling. It's the worst when you get like a 0 mana. Oh, back when it was 1, I guess, before it changes. You hit like a 1 cost card for 1. It's like, well, that was pointless. Like, this is not the worst, especially if you're on stream. Like, you have to hide your face. Just keep it straight.
Oh.
Don't twist your mouth. Don't make an eyebrow twitch. Like, oh my God. Like,
You draw your counterfeit coins with it. And you're like, oh.
oh man. Or a wand thief stays at 1. It's like, that was pointless. I say this from recent experience. I literally was playing some meme odd rogue, and I was like, all right, I'll play some Galakron in here, and then the ability just hit the 1 cost cards, and I was like, all right, delete the deck.
You memed yourself.
Yeah, it generally happens at my stream.
All right. Hey, just so you guys know, I was checking on my son's playing on the computer next to me over here, and right before the show, he realized that Kingsbane was in his collection. He didn't know that, and so we threw together a Kingsbane list, and he's been jamming it on ladder this whole time for the last hour or so, and he is currently 14-7 with the 67% win rate. And like, he's 9 years old. I'm so excited. I'm so proud right now.
Does he do wild
awesome.
coaching? Because
and
Gonna host the podcast next week.
right, we'll have him on as a special guest. He doesn't have all the cards, and so we're using Goblin Auto Barber and some other stuff. But like,
I love that card.
He's killing it. I'm so happy. That's cool. Sorry, I'm sorry to
No, that's awesome.
get sidetracked, but like, he's like, my goal is gold 10 by bedtime. It's so cute.
Wow, what a sentence. That's awesome.
Okay, our last rogue card is Edwin. We already knew this was happening. He's reverting back to 3 mana. I personally, and everyone probably get mad at me for this, but I never had a problem with 3 mana Edwin to begin with. That being said, I've watched it in tournaments a handful of times where like it was like coin, prep, 12-12 Edwin on turn 1, and you just sweep, you win games like that from time to time. But anyways, we already knew this was happening, and I'm totally fine with it. Anyone have thoughts on the Edwin revert?
Yeah, it's gonna be back in standard for the week or so that we have it. I'm sure people will try it again, especially with Galakron also changing back. And there's gonna be so much rogue nitro boost poison making it good.
Yeah, I've heard rumors about a nitro boost nerf, and I saw the post and then they switched it, and I'm curious. It looks like nitro boost may be getting nerfed to 2 mana, so I guess we'll see.
Is there any major tournaments going on while all these cards are reverted for a week in standard?
Oh God, wouldn't that be crazy?
Like, can you make really big Edwins like one more time?
One more
for big upset.
People are gonna try it.
Yeah, if there's any big tournaments, bring out the Edwin.
That's funny. All right. It is what it is. I'm going to move on to Shaman. We've got Spirit Claws. Spirit Claws was a giant thing way back when for aggro Shaman, but with them taking away the spell damage totem, this sort of changes everything. And so, and again, I'm hardly the Shaman expert, but I think without the potential for spell damage totem, this card is not nearly as good as it used to be. And so I don't even think it's going to see play personally. I'm curious to see what like 3E or Blue Train or somebody who's a Shaman expert would say, but I don't think this has any real effect at all. It would have been awesome in Odd Shaman, but there's no more spell damage totem. So yeah, I don't know. Someone asked how it would compare to Lickum. I think Lickham's probably easier because all you need is the overload, and that's really easy to do. So yeah. I don't think this sees play. Hydra, what do you think?
It does pair well with the new 1-drop.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So like there is that, but there's only 2 of those in your deck and 2 of these. So we'll see. You'd have to really try hard to put some like Blood Mage Thalano still exists. You'd have to be running some cards that you possibly don't want to run if you want some more spell damage in your deck to make this active.
Oh, what a segue. Can I jump in right there?
Yeah.
Because I was going to say, hey guys, what about Mana Reservoir? 2 mana elemental, 0 attack, 6 health. Huh? Yeah, no.
That's a no from me, dog. I guess we'll see. Some of these things it's hard to guess when they're working on a rework for the class, and so there may be something that we don't know about. But I am kind of skeptical, personally. Dragon Rider, any thoughts?
Yeah, pretty much the same thing that you guys are saying. Like, people might try it. I think just for like nostalgia reasons. Be like, oh yeah, hey, this is back. Like, cool spell damage stuff again. But yeah, that's as far as I see it going.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of Galakron earlier, all of the Shaman Galakron cards are being reverted, which I think will be interesting. I know Blue Train's really excited. I'm excited to play these. I remember when Galakron first came out, Shaman was like busted in standard for, how long did it last before these all got nerfed? Like a week or two? It was not that long because I
remember it is 9 days.
Yeah, I remember all of like the big name streamers hitting top legend ranks with Galakron Shaman. Like everybody was playing it because it was out of kind of, I don't know. And I couldn't tell because it happened so fast that, I don't know if it was really that good or if it was like the flavor of the week. And so I'm not sure. I think that all these reversions to Galakron Shaman and Wild will be interesting and it will be fun to play. And it's still not going to beat Secret Mage and Reno Priest and all of the other stuff. So I think that the nerfs or that the reverts to these are appropriate for Wild. That's my kind of hot take on all of these.
Electric Sheep City says 9 days, 3 hours, 23 minutes, and 52 seconds.
And my boy, down to the seconds. Oh my god. Yo, I just remember those 8/8s being like brutal. I was like, I like the style of deck. I honestly enjoyed playing against it.
I didn't get salty, but once they played that Galakron and a bunch of 8/8s came out, I just knew that was checkmate. I never developed a way to counter that play, so I need to figure that. I got to figure that part out. I like playing against it. I'm not gonna lie. Quest Rogue, no, but this deck was cool to play against.
Yeah, I've got a Golden Kronks also. I'm looking forward to this. I think it'll be fun.
Yeah, the 4/8/8s were yikes for real.
Yeah, I'm a little skeptical, but I want to try it. Yeah, Don, what do you think?
Yeah, I actually came across somebody playing a Galakron Shaman in Standard yesterday, so I think there's definitely some people who are already like, all right, let's play this deck.
The cultists.
Practicing.
Yeah, exactly. Like they're trying to get the head start there, but I don't know. It might be a thing in Standard, but it'll be interesting. I don't know with some other tools that are available that people play in Standard already. Like maybe it's not going to be that great. So I don't know if it's going to see a lot of like high level play.
Yeah, that's a smart move. Just jumping on it and seeing if you can get ahead of the game. I'm guilty of that with Quest Rogue. Actually, I saw Ben from work post a Quest Rogue list in the Discord the other day. I'm like, okay, let's get back in the groove. Let's play some Quest Rogue. So
yeah, it'll be fun to dust those off. So I think if you guys are cool with this, I'm just gonna breeze through all of the Galakron Shaman cards because they're kind of a package. Sure. So Corrupt Elementalist is a 6-mana 3/3 going down to a 5-mana 3/3. We have Invocation of Frost as a 2-mana freeze an enemy invoke to a 1-mana freeze an enemy and invoke. Dragon's Pack was a 5-mana summon 2/3 Spirit Wolves with Taunt. If you've invoked twice, give them +2/+2. It's going back to give them +3/+3. And then I think that's it. The last card for Shaman is that Flame Tongue Totem is it currently is a 3-mana 0/3. Give adjacent minions +2 attack, adjacent minions have +2 attack. And mana reduction is going to now 2 mana, but health going down to 2. So 2 mana 0/2. Adjacent minions have +2 attack. I don't know. I don't really have any thoughts about this. Like, could you put it in even Shaman? Yeah, actually, with the totem version, maybe you could. So I don't know. Aside from that, I don't. Not quite sure. I'll try it in that. I'm a little bit skeptical. But maybe.
It was played there before.
Hey, Dragon Rider did come on the show and ask us to help people find a way into Wild. For a long time, even Shaman was one of the decks that people did suggest that new players could jump in and play. I know you have to craft again, but hey, if they're going to make Call to Arms 4 mana, maybe Gen can enter the ring now to be a card to be crafted. This looks pretty spicy for even Shaman. I like it. I've been seeing some even Shaman. I've lost my last 5 games against them, so I gotta stop talking trash about it. Or I'm just trash. Both are probably true, so it's all good.
I actually think it'd be pretty good in. It'll be pretty good in even Shaman now that I think about it, because you can use the Splitting Axe to get copies, and you can buff it, and it's gonna create a lot of damage on board, and so yeah, I don't know. This will be a fun one, actually. I think.
Yeah, I like it.
All right, let's move. Let's just keep moving along then. They announced the Warlock unnerfs, and the 2 people that were excited were me and Gold Daniel, and then we were both simultaneously disappointed when they only unnerfed 1 card, and it was Fiendish Rites that we didn't care about. So Fiendish Rites right now 4 mana, invoke Galakron, give your minions +1, reduce down to 3 mana, give your invoke and give your minions +1. So whatever. This does not affect Wild whatsoever. 0 people play Galakron Warlock in Wild, so I have 0 thoughts on this aside from sad. Honestly, like, Warlock is so good, it doesn't need unnerves. I was sort of hoping for the the lackey. What was it called?
Possessed lackey.
Possessed. No. Was it or the lackey that summoned a demon when it died?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's lackey.
Is it?
Yep,
Yeah,
that's lucky.
I was kind of hoping for that, but was not to be. So oh well. Anyone have any thoughts on this, or should I just skip it because I don't think it affects us like at all? No.
Go next.
Yeah. All right. So these next couple, I think, will actually be pretty interesting. So Scion of Ruin is the dragon from Galakron Warrior. So I remember it getting nerfed to 4 mana. So 4 mana, 3/2 with Rush Battlecry. If you've invoked twice, summon 2 copies of this, and it's going back to 3, which is crazy. I'm excited. Galakron Warrior has always been good. Playing Galakron Warrior, there's a couple people like Hazer and Memnarch in particular that have really pushed this hard in Wild, and I think that it'll be fun to play, especially in combination with the next card, which is Bloodsworn Mercenary. There's some combo potential here. But anyways, you guys have any thoughts on the Scion going back to 3?
It's just good.
It's good. Yeah.
It's always like this card is just great, and so having your mana reduction is cool. And I think where Warrior stands in Wild right now, like a little buff doesn't hurt at all. So I'm excited. I'm excited for this one. Yeah, I don't know that the power level changes at all, but you potentially, I don't know. There's more that you can do with it costing less. Yes. Yep. Then, without belaboring it too much, I think we all can agree that it's a good card, right?
Yeah. Let's go. Yep.
All right, next up is Bloodsworn Mercenary. It had been nerfed to be a 2/2, 3 mana Battlecry. Choose a damaged friendly minion, summon a copy of it. As a 2/2, it's going back to being a 3/3, where we really see this a lot as an ETC warrior for OTK combo potential. I don't know that the health really changes much of anything, but so I personally, I don't really have much thoughts on this. It is what it is.
Yeah, I feel like when you're playing this card, you're kind of trying to close the game out at this point, so the health and attack doesn't matter.
Yeah. I mean, you can use this for an OTK with Grom or with ETC, but having the health and attack, I don't think really changes that. So, yeah,
I'm just glad they didn't change the ability. I like this card. Are we discussing the card? I think it's on this list. I'm just glad they didn't change this ability because it unlocks so many like OTKs. It's awesome. Love this card right here.
Okay, then let's just move on to our last warrior card. It's Charge.
Oh yeah,
so
this one.
This is funny, right? Charge was a 1 mana give a friendly minion rush. Right? except it said charge, can't attack heroes this turn. So this is an interesting one, and I don't know what's going to happen here. So this is like a complete rework. It was 1 mana, now it costs 3.
Mm-hmm.
Give a friendly minion +2 attack and charge. Like,
oh yeah,
okay.
You put it on Bloodsworn target, boom.
Dude, you could put this on just about anything. Like, I don't think that... I mean, we've seen them remove charge from a couple of things lately. The game now has almost 0 charge left in it. There's a couple cards, but not a lot. Having this will... Someone will do something with it. I don't think it's going to break the game, per se, but I think that it has some potential to do something. I don't know. I'm not a great warrior player, so somebody rescue me here.
No, I want to see people put it on whatever giants, something that's going to go face, something that's going to give us another archetype. Bring it on. I like it. And then even if it is broken, we'll find a way to counter it. Let's mix up the meta.
I like that. I like that right there. Yo, DK, what do you think about this card? Now that it doesn't give rush.
Yeah, I think especially with all of the changes, like you guys were already talking about, that they're like removing charge from other things. We've already talked a couple of times about them changing cards so that they don't deal face damage, but then they do this, so they're giving it to specifically warrior, which I find really interesting, but that does allow there to be some cool combos with it, but it's also specific to one class, so it's not going to be like everybody has it, and you can plan for it and counter it a little bit more potentially. So I think I'm okay with this, and yeah, it hopefully will create some different stuff that's going to be played.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I spoke up before when Nate was talking, so apologies. I like this card a lot. I'm glad they didn't change the text on Bloodsworn, because there are a plethora of minions that have Wind Fury, but there are some that I'm thinking of, and I'm not saying this is going to break the game. I just like the fact that they gave this card it actually charge. So like you get a minion that has Wind Fury, and you damage it very easily with this 0 mana spell, and then you give it charge, and then you split it in half, and then bam, like you get 2 minions attacking twice. Like this card is awesome. I'm ready for it.
Oh yeah, there's definitely some combo potential here.
Yeah, I have a theory crafted, but I'm saving it because you know how people get out here all stealing lists and defensive. I'm not playing that game. I'm just waiting until it's available. Play it on stream. People ask, here's the code. Boom.
There you go.
I'm excited. It's awesome.
All right.
What's
so
that? Sorry.
No, go for it. Go for it.
I was just gonna say, what's that cheap Murloc that has Wind Fury that they recently made?
Yeah, the Crab Rider.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's only one attack. Nah, we need something big. You'll see. Anyway,
Yeah, we'll
let's
get
keep
there.
the show going.
Well, it's
right.
more of a standard thing. They buff it up a bunch.
I seen it. Yeah, people play it, but
Yeah.
let's try to jam through. So we're already a little past 2 hours. So we're through the class specific cards. We're now to the neutrals. Some of these, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. So starting off, we've got Undertaker. So going back to like way back when this got nerfed, it's being reverted now. So it previously said whenever you summon a minion with Death Rattle, gain +1 attack. It's a 1 mana 1/2. Now it says whenever you summon a minion with Death Rattle, gain +1/+1. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really even know what to think about this. I think that it potentially can slot into kind of whatever. I don't really see it being a giant threat, but I also see no reason why like this shouldn't be unnerfed. So I think this makes things a little bit interesting, although I don't think it really has a big impact. Hydra thoughts?
Death Rattle Hunter, possibly Egg Druid sort of thing. I don't really know if it's going to be enough to break the meta or anything. Times have changed in Hearthstone since this was crazy. We've got plenty of ways to deal with stuff like this, so I definitely welcome it and I want to play with it. I remember not knowing what was going on when people were making. I didn't know how the meta worked back then and stuff, and people were making big Undertakers and hitting me with them, and I want to do it, so I'm gonna try.
That's funny. Mike, any thoughts?
I just like Hydra's energy. Nothing.
I like it. Dragon Rider, anything?
Yeah, I think with a lot of these, honestly, it feels like, kind of like Hydralisk said, like these were a product of their time, and then they were too strong at that point, then they got nerfed, and now it's like, obviously we have better stuff to deal with all that, so it seems fine to kind of bring these back to that level again.
Yeah, I'm excited for that too. This next one is the only one. I think that this is the only card that I'm actually concerned about, which is funny because Ixar had mentioned the same thing. Like, this was the one that he rallied against them changing. And so Arcane Golem is back with charge. So 3 mana, they had changed it to be a 3 mana 4/4. Battlecry, give your opponent a mana crystal. It's now a 3 mana 4/2 with charge. Battlecry, give your opponent a mana crystal. And This is the one that I am very skeptical of because, especially as we've seen them remove charge from so many things, where, you know, number one, like this potentially slots into any odd deck, which, you know, I don't know if that's really the right place, but where I think this really could go into is Dark Glare, which which is already like arguably the best deck in the format at this point. Difficult to play, but this slots into that, and now with Power Overwhelming and stuff like that. Like you've just got so much burst damage from out of nowhere that this I can see this being the one that they switch back in a month or so. I mean, we'll see. But the power level I think is pretty off the chart here. What do you think, Mike?
So I remember when this card changed. Prior to that, the thought back was like I didn't really understand how Hearthstone worked. I played other card games, but once they changed this, like I understood like how strong Charge was, and like the fact that they changed this back. Like Dragon Rider just beautifully said, a lot of the cards, were powerful in their time period. Change it back now. There's newer stuff to deal with, but this, I feel like this is the one that just is kind of like gonna sneak through and like sidestep everything else and like be really strong. Like I'm nervous for this one.
I think they could have. I think they could have brought. Man. They should have brought patches back with Charge instead of this. That's my 2 cents. But
yeah,
who needs Leroy? What's Leroy? Oh my god, man!
Hyder, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that's a good point, Mike. With Leroy, this is kind of a card you have to kind of watch how you're playing it, right? If you're using it sort of later in the game, later in an aggro deck, but then it's okay. But you could accidentally misplay, and you could walk right into a board clear that you could have waited a whole extra turn to get to. Right? Like you could play this card and now they Psychic Scream everything and they have a chance to catch up, right? Because you gave them that extra mana crystal. Like you get them closer to that board clear if you're playing this on curve. But I definitely think it's a scary card. And there's going to be some wows when you accidentally do that, when you're just going face and then they just, oh, thanks. Now I can clear your board. Thank you for giving me that extra mana. I feel like that's definitely going to happen, but at the same time, it's definitely a scary card. Let's do it. I'll play with it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, it's kind of scary. I don't know. Seems opposite of everything else that they've been doing in terms of like taking Charge away from other stuff or removing face damage, and then they do this, and it's like, wait, what? I don't know. It feels kind of like opposite of everything else, so I'm not sure how this fits in, but it does seem a little scary. Yeah, and neutral.
Yes, a neutral. Yes.
I don't know. I feel like there's probably going to be some sort of combo that someone's going to come up with where they play one or two of these and do it, like be able to build it up or do some crazy combo where you're killing them in one turn or a turn where you don't care about giving them the mana crystal.
Mm-hmm. I'm calling it right now. This one will get reverted back within a month of it being released. That's my hot take.
Do. Please. I can already see it now. No, I'm agreeing with you. Like I can see it now. Like I remember, like I still suck at this game, but I didn't get it. But once I learned this card, I was like, I get this game now. This card is too. Come on, man. All I see is 3 mana and Charge. That's it.
Right.
Oh,
all right. So next up, I've got Leper Gnome. It's going back to a 2/1 instead of a 1/1. I think this is just reinforces Face Hunter as a deck in Wild again, and I think I want to couple this with the next one. Knife Juggler is reverting back to a 3/2 from a 2/2, and so I remember these are best buddies over here. I mean, remember the old days, like. Talk about Doctor 1, 2, and 3. I've got Leper Gnome into Knife Juggler into God, what's it called? The Hunter spell, the 3-mana Hunter spell. The Unleash the Hounds. Yeah, thank you. It's been a long day, but yeah, I think that this sort of brings Hunter back on the table again. I used to play this stuff in. Way back when in like Zoo Warlock, and so I don't know. This will be interesting. Yeah, you guys have any thoughts on these two cards here?
Nostalgia.
Yeah, I don't know that they're actually good enough for anything. Although, what's always interesting is when. the people start experimenting with decks, or people start getting really greedy with decks, it's like that's the one time when Face Hunter can really shine. It's like, look, you just smack them in the face a few times and then you win. I don't know that these changes are enough to do anything significant for the format, but I have zero problem with the changes. So
Yeah, I might take the opportunity just while everyone's experimenting in the last week, just to queue whatever Face Hunter is good, and just maybe throw this in there, and you get extra damage. So cool, I'll try it. Like the leper gnomes having the extra damage is kind of funny, because sometimes you would like ignore a leper gnome because it's going to do that face damage to you, and you got to think about what you're going to do. But now it's doing 2 damage every time it hits you in the face also. So cool.
Nice. Okay, well let's move on. I've got Bone Mare. So I remember when this got nerfed from 7 to 8. It's going back to 7. For those people listening, it's a 5/5 Battlecry. Give a friendly minion +4/+4 and taunt. And gosh, I remember there a time when we used to play it in Rogue, like a tempo Rogue. It's really interesting. And I never thought it needed to be nerfed in the first place. Like, it feels like a slow card. I mean, it's difficult to deal with when somebody plays it, but especially in Wild, it feels pretty slow. So this is one of those that I feel like, all right, cool, well-deserved, moving right along. But any of you have any hot takes on this?
Not I.
No? Yeah. Cool. Yeah. All right. So the next one is interesting for us, though. Serenite Chain Gang means that Shudderwock is coming back to Wild. So they had removed early on the ability to... the original text said, taunt, Battlecry, summon a copy of this minion. And they changed it to say, summon another copy of Serenite Chain Gang. And so the sort of infinite combo here is... you play this, it summons a copy of itself. You play Zola the Gorgon to, get a copy back into your hand. And so Shudderwock, when it plays, is now summoning a copy of Shudderwock, and you get a copy of Shudderwock back in your hand so that you can keep replaying it. And I'm super excited to see Shudderwock back in Wild. I probably will regret saying this in a month, but with the power level so high in other classes, Shudderwock, I don't know. I'm kind of excited to see it back. I feel like this is a pretty cool. Mike, any thoughts?
Yeah, like you said, Shudderwock. So I know Taylor's excited.
Yeah.
I'm just glad that we're gonna have a lot of different cards out here to have a lot of different decks. I'm ready for a refresh.
Yeah. That's my take on this. Is it's going to be just something that people are going to be experimenting with, make things fresh. I mean, this was always really cool with Keleseth, right? Keleseth used to buff it to the fact that you would get 2 of the buffed ones, and so stuff like that. It's really cool. Nobody plays Keleseth in Wild, but hey, maybe people will try. What do you think, Dragon Rider?
Yeah, I know a lot of people are super excited for this, especially people who really liked to play Shudderwock Shaman in the past. So I think it's a good change. I think bringing that back, like it's had its time to not be a thing, and now like it feels like it's okay to bring it back.
Yeah, Shaman needed some love, I think. So I don't have any problem with this at all. And over the past couple months, we've seen people keep asking for a shakeup in Wild, and this will do that. Like, this opens the door for a lot of different possibilities. So just in general, this next card I look at personally as sort of a nerf. Archivist Elysiana. This is a 9 mana 7/7. Battlecry, discover 5 cards, replace your deck with 2 copies of each. And people were playing this in a somewhat limited manner in Odd Warrior as a control deck, and you go to fatigue, and then you can play this to refill your deck. And now that it's being reverted back to 8 mana, you can't play it in that deck anymore. And so I'm a little bit disappointed with this one, actually. Aside from that, you know, it was arguable whether or not it was good in that deck anyway. Some people thought it was kind of greedy. I think I would have been happier seeing this one not touched, but it is what it is. I know you play a lot of Warrior, Mike. Do you have any thoughts on this one?
Like you said, niche. I'll always keep bringing out Dragon Rider here. She made a great point earlier. Certain cards from a time phase. There was a time where this card was awesome. Doesn't have the same, to me, like the same idea that fatigue doesn't really happen. So with this not being an odd rogue, don't think that I didn't notice that they made charge 3 mana. So I think odd rogue will find a way to have like a finisher. I didn't really think Elysiana was used that much for that recently anyway. More of like, Super Collider and Chief Inspector, anti stuff. Gain a bunch of armor, go Dr. Boom, blah, blah, blah. So with this at 8 mana, it's cheaper. I'm not sure how it'll be used, but you know me, half glass full. I'm excited to see how it can be used. It'll be cool.
Sure. Hydra, any thoughts?
You can use Youthful Brewmaster again with it. Right?
Oh, crap.
Yeah,
Oh my God, dude. Yo.
That's funny.
So yeah, it'll be annoying. But yeah, Odd Warrior can't run it. So, but there's that.
Yeah, I don't know. Dragon Rider, any thoughts?
I was just wondering because, like, again, I don't know the meta as deeply as you guys do. Do people or will people try like even decks that are more control your slow with this in there instead?
Double Cthulhu, even Reno Warrior. You never heard of it? It's great. No, to be serious, I don't. Nah, even decks.
You know,
I don't think there's any. There's like even Shaman, and then
like if you
like a mid-range deck, that's not even like a control deck you'd run this in.
If you really want to go down like the off meta, whatever. I've seen like even Reno Warlock is a semi-competitive, semi-meme deck. Like you could toss that in there, I guess, maybe. But like I don't really see it personally. It's pretty greedy, and the only deck that I really saw it fit in was Odd Warrior, and so I think they they sort of killed it.
Yeah.
Oh well. All right, let's move on though. Dragon Queen Alexstrasza. They had nerfed it so that the 2 dragons that you draw cost 1, and so they have reverted them back to 0. So this will be interesting. When they made this change, everyone immediately pulled this card out of all the Highlander decks, and so it could possibly come back. I don't know. I did hear that they kept in the change that it can, it can't discover itself.
Thank God.
Which I agree with. I've seen it do that to me a handful of times, and that always feels super awful. But I love this card. I have it in gold, and so this is one of those. It's sort of like a win more card in my opinion. But like when you play it and you get 2 awesome dragons, it's so cool. And when your opponent does it to you, it's like feels so bad and it's awful. But I don't have a problem with this. I think this is fine, especially with them reverting other things. Like this seems fine to me. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's fine in Wild to have this, with the 9 mana and have just 2 more dragons like that. You're really turn 9. You're putting 3 things on the board. And all 3 may not even be good, to be honest. There's so many dragons in the pool in Wild, so who knows what you pull. And there's what's Priest doing on turn 9? Like the stuff they're bringing back. What is Blood Reaver Gul'dan do? When you summon everything back, and N'Zoth doing it. It's not by any means overpowered. So I like it. That's it's a fine unnerf for me.
Yeah, Mike?
All right, so hear me out. Secret Passage into Galakron. Hit this for 0. Hit this 2/0 mana dragons. Boom, yo, we're rolling now. This is great. I'm so excited they put these dragons back to 0.
I'm really sad that I was a prisoner of the moment, and I dusted my golden Dragon Queen Alexstrasza. So now I just have a, dusty, musty regular one. But it's okay. At least they cost 0 now. That's cool.
Yeah, Dragon Rider. What do you think?
Yeah, I like this change, and definitely, like you guys said, like it makes sense for Wild. I think the like week or so, or however long we're gonna have it in Standard, I feel like people are gonna slot this back in, like especially to Highlander Mage. I think is gonna be the biggest one where people play, probably Highlander Priest as well. But like especially Mage, because we're already getting some other changes. It's like they're gonna just kind of go back to the older style Highlander Mage, and this fits really well. So I'm sure people will play this in Standard for the short time that we're going to have it again.
Yeah.
I agree.
All right, you guys, this next one I'm super pumped about. Bad Luck Albatross is going back to 3 mana. So we played this in Q block for quite a while to combat all the Reno decks. And at 4 mana, it just feels bad. And it feels slow. And so bringing it back to 3 is great. It's great, especially with all the like Reno Priest and Reno Warlock are like tier 1 decks in Wild right now, and so having something to combat the Highlander decks seems good to me. And so I don't have anything bad to say about this at all. I was hoping for this, and I was happy to get it, and my golden birds are happy. So. Yeah, Hydra, what do you think?
Well, Dragon Rider, when you were asking earlier about getting into Wild, and I was talking about a good craft to get in with a starter deck, and you can start with Baku, which is your odd decks. So for something like an odd rogue, a cheap deck that you can start with, this can slot right in there. And you're going up against, you're also asking about the meta and being a little, like intimidated or whatnot. Well, you can know that you have just messed up Raza Reno Priest, because you have just now turned off their Reno and their Zephyrus and their Raza. So it's just great. This is an awesome card. If you're seeing lots of Reno decks, put this in your odd decks. It's aggressively statted, so yeah, it's back. It's sweet. I'm happy.
Yeah, Mike.
The Burbs are back. I guess when they come back, I gotta play decks that are not Reno decks. So, oh man, I mean, I like Reno decks. I'm not a crazy fan of Reno Priest, but I kind of get what Martian Blue means about this card shutting down spell decks. I'm not worried about my spell decks. I'm worried about like the Reno decks I play. So I'll just find a different kind of deck. Not to get all sad. This is an excellent card. That's kind of why I'm sour, because the card's so good. Very excellent. 5-star. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. One last card we've got being reverted is the Frenzied Fellwing. It's 4 mana, 3/2 demon, costs 1 less for each damage dealt to your opponent this turn. It's being reverted back to a 3/3. I remember this being played early on in some of the more aggressive decks, and I haven't seen it in ages, so I don't know. In fact, I wonder if it was in Standard that I was seeing it. I don't know. Do you guys remember? Like,
Yeah. When I was playing THL last spring, I believe this was in like Face Hunter, Dragon Rider. Am I correct in saying that this time last year?
Yeah, it
Maybe
was in a
last April?
couple of the like aggro decks around then. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Whew. Yeah, see, I'm cool.
yeah,
I thought I like the card. 0 mana for 3. Did a bunch of face damage, more pressure. Cool.
Yeah, it's like, to be honest, it's a good card. I don't know if it has a home right now, but it'll probably come and go out of the meta. And if you're playing budget decks, an aggressive budget deck, it's a good thing to slot in. So it's a good change to have it back. I was not ever playing this in Wild myself. I only played it in a couple standard decks. but it's a good change. Not too much to say about it.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Well, that's a lot of stuff. That's it for the nerf reverts. Did they say when we're getting these? Have you guys heard? I couldn't find it anywhere.
No idea.
I don't think they specified yet.
What Alex said was in patch 20.0, which is the next major patch. What my guess is, all right, so they said that we're getting the new set on the 30th. I think the patch, I'm guessing, like predicting right now, it'll come through on the 23rd, which is the Tuesday before, like a week before. Because they want to update the client so that they usually do it on Tuesdays, and that will give them time for everything to be there on the back end for when it goes live. And so that's my prediction. It looks like Chad agrees with me. So I guess we'll see. But that's kind of the thought here. Yeah. Anyone have any final hot takes before we kind of move on?
Flak Mage cannot kill Frenzied Fellwing now. I just thought of also.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we used to play it in Demon Hunter, like aggro Demon Hunter, way back when, but I don't know. Maybe it'll come back. I'm not sure. All right, well, let's kind of jump super quickly into our decks of the week here, what we've been playing. I'm going to start out real quick, and I promise I'll go through mine super quick. So I hit Legend over the past week. I played Big Priest to get there. Nothing really special or fancy about this. I pulled the deck straight from Vicious Syndicate. And in fact, I was questioning it because it's running Idol of Yasiraj that the deck doesn't normally play, but because it only runs 5 minions, you really can high roll with a giant minion here and just bringing back more and more and more copies of it. And I never really had it whiff. I mean, honestly, I don't know what else to say about this aside from, is Idol greedy? Yeah, it's greedy, but I feel like it's a one of, and my win rate with this was absurd, to kind of like autopilot to Legend. And so the deck, it feels super bad to play. If you need Priest wins, it's pretty darn good though. It's very consistent and so it is what it is. I don't know. I remember when Blood of Gahoon first came out and Mike hit Legend with it like right away, and thinking like, oh yeah, this card is really good. I never imagined we'd be in a world where Big Priest pulled out Yasiraj because it wasn't good enough anymore. And so now we just run two and two Blood of Gahoons instead. And this deck is pretty crazy. For any of these decks that we've been playing, like we'll include the notes or the codes for the decks in the show notes and put them up on the website and stuff. I don't really have anything else to say from this aside from it's kind of gross, and if you need Priest wins, go for it. I feel kind of guilty playing it, but it's really pretty good. You guys have been playing some more interesting decks, I think. I saw, I'll pull them up in a minute. I know we're talking wild here, but Dragon Rider, what have you been playing lately?
Mostly, I play a ton of Highlander Hunter, and then this week I've been playing a lot of OTK Demon Hunter and Aggro Demon Hunter because that's what I have on Europe. So
right. Yeah, last time I watched your stream, it was the Highlander Hunter, and I don't know, you made it look really fun. I will say that. I have never given it a ton of thought, and then I watched you play, and I was like, oh, it makes me want to play it. Like this actually looks really strong. Oh, this looks really fun. And so, yeah. Demon Hunter is the one class I've got like maybe 100 wins with. Really need to play some games, so maybe it's worth investing some time in.
Well, Dragon Rider, that could be your transition into doing wild if you're going to play that OTK Demon Hunter. Right?
Hey, there you go.
What's the one card, Nate, that's in the wild version?
I don't know. I think it's I think
I'm talking trash. I'm just talking trash.
No, I'm pretty sure.
Jack says.
I'm pretty sure it's Emperor Thorison because you get an Emperor tick to reduce everything, and it makes the OTK easier to pull off. Yeah.
Okay, I can get behind that.
Yeah.
I could try that.
I think that's
pretty cool,
that's the
actually.
one card, and so I did a co-op with Ben from work playing that. I don't remember if I recorded it or not. I'll have to dig through my archives, but I remember the number of the damage that we did was absurd. I mean, it was almost 100. It was just out of hand. If you can pull it off, it's difficult though, and so it's a high risk, high reward. I don't know how easy it is to do in Wild, but Ben hit legend with it, and that's saying something. So yeah. Anyways, Mike, what do you got here? I see Powered Shield Waiting Room. What is this deck?
Oh man. All right, so let me give you the origins, and then I will explain how the deck has transformed since then. So this deck was posted in our Discord by a user named Nebrolion. So shout out to Nebrolion for the original list on March 2nd. It says good old miracle. And Nebrolion was going back and forth with Catharsis. And in the end, Nebrolion said, I'm not a wild player, just playing the deck, just trying to get the combo off. So the idea was, just burn through the deck and try to pop off Yogs and Ron. So, any random effects just happen. And I kind of, switched it up. So I had a better chance against the meta that I was at because I hit Diamond 5. So the goal here, obviously, you want to get Spear of Sapience. And then you're trying to get Northshire, any of your 2-drops. And then you want to get the Bloodweaver. Try to curve those out. And playing against a lot of aggro decks at the rank I'm at, I have a lot of spells to clear, control the board, and position myself for the Auctioneer turn. So there's a lot of things you can do here. My favorite thing is to wait for Auctioneer to cycle through to find the Yoxaron. There are a lot of Cthulhu spells. Hey, you might put Cthulhu and the Shadow together. But another fun way to play this deck is you can pop off the Lyras. The ability off of Lyra. So I just posted a video in chat. Me and there he is right there. Me and Mediocre Ogre had a match on my stream the other day. And this match, guys, it is worth every single minute of watching this video. If you gotta break it up, get a snack, get a drink. This deck is so much fun. I love it so much. If you ever need a break from whatever meta or wherever you're at, pop this on, jam some games out. It's so much fun.
Nice.
I actually crafted Lyra. I didn't have it. Can't believe it.
Cool.
Love this deck.
Sweet. All right, Hydra, what do you got here?
Okay, so I'm sure many of you have probably run into this on the ladder. There was a creator of this deck named DeZozo posted this list. It's a combo in Rogue where you become Rag using Major Domo Executus. And so while this is quite the meme of a card, this is an infinite combo where you literally, depending on who you go against, and you pull this off, you don't die. So the idea is you run Tess in this. So you play all of your rogue cards, and once you become Ragnaros and you play your Tess, it's now going to play all of your rogue cards that you played before because you are no longer a rogue. So
you're the Fire Lord.
Oh my god.
And so now you have a hero power that deals 8 damage every turn. And so there's a few cards that you need to play leading up to this. You can play this deck a couple different ways. You're trying to draw through really, really quickly to get all your combo pieces that you need. So you have double Cold Light Oracles and you have prize vendors. So you can mill people, which is pretty sweet. You can, which I've done, you get rid of people's Anduins and Razas and stuff like that. But so the idea is you need to play a couple key cards before you do the combo. So this deck runs Anka the Buried, which is the battle cry, change death rattle minion in your hand to a 1/1 that costs 1. So you want that to land on your Major Domo. So you have to wait till you have Major Domo in your hand. You can tutor all these in order with Lore Keeper Polkelt, by the way. And so you make your Major Domo a 1-cost card. And this is, you always have to save a backstab. So you're going to backstab your Major Domo, and that's how you activate it. Leading up to this, you're going to play cards like Vanish, and you're going to play a Kingsbane, and you need to play Cloak of Shadows, which is give your hero stealth for 1 turn, and you also have the secret. Which one is the secret again?
It's evasion.
Evasion.
This is the weirdest Kingsbane list I've ever seen.
The idea with Kingsbane is so when you play Tess, it's going to replay your Kingsbane every turn. So it's going to break your Kingsbane, and it's going to throw your Kingsbane back into your deck. So you can't fatigue because it always throws your Kingsbane in your deck. So every time you go
rogue. Okay.
Yeah. You go infinite with this.
So what happens once you pull this combo off? This is like playing Shutterwalk. Every turn, all you have to do is you play your Tess over and over and over again, and all you do is you become stealth every turn, and your secret goes up. That also makes you immune once you take any damage. So Hunter can do a hero power shot at you, and that's about it. So once you get this combo off, it's absolutely ridiculous. Like, your stealth, nobody can target you, and you just go on forever. And so every turn, Vanish will be cast because you played it earlier, and it just throws whatever minions your opponent played onto the board back into their hand, and it gives you your test back. So you just play the game out. All you have to do is play test and hit your hero power and hit end turn, and make your opponent kind of angry. So Concerned Mom put a video out on this, and I was watching Blue Train learn how to play this, and I instantly picked it up, and I actually felt guilty playing it because it was funny when it was fresh too, because a lot of people didn't understand what was happening, and I was playing versus a druid that just kept playing out their minions every single turn, and then automatically every time I played my test, it just threw them back in their hand. And so it's pretty gross when you pull it off, but it's satisfying when you do the combo once you've sort of figured out the order to play everything in. But it's fun. I always encourage new archetypes. So while this is here, let's play it. Also, disruption. If somebody pulls one of your combo pieces out, you're kind of done, right? I've had people pull my Tess out of my hand. I've had people pull my Anka, so I can't reduce my Major Domo. It definitely loses hard to disruption.
Yeah, it seems to me like it loses pretty hard.
Nate, were you going to say something there?
Yeah, just that it loses to super fast aggro as well.
No. But yeah, that's what I've been playing. It's pretty fun. If you guys have all the cards for this, give it a spin. It's pretty fun.
Nice. All right, you guys, we've been going for a long time, much longer than I anticipated. That always seems to happen when we review cards, and so I apologize. So kind of switching over to wrap things up over here. I did want to say a quick thank you to the patrons of our show. So especially to Shokunin, who's the executive producer of our show. Thank you so much for everything that you do for us, for your support, and also to our patrons, Disruptor 108, Claudette G, Daniel B, Justin M, Wildcard Armorn, Ben from Work, Corin J, and AJ Gomez. Thank you guys so much for supporting us. We really appreciate you. If anybody who is watching or listening is interested in supporting the show financially, you can visit our website at borntobewildhs.com. If you click on the Find Us link or the Find Us page, there is a link to our Patreon. We've also got a bunch of awesome merch there as well. If you're someone who is on Twitch a lot, we have several new emotes that you can use by subscribing to us on Twitch as well. Yeah. So Yeah, that's super cool. So thank you to our patrons. And then jumping into our weekly challenge here, very quickly, for new listeners, what is a weekly challenge? Each week we've got a special challenge for listeners that if we'll come up with some crazy challenge to see if people can pull this off or not. And if you do, whoever is the winner of this, we will gift you a couple packs and you get bragging rights. And so the challenge last week, Hydra, I'm going to let you explain it because it was kind of a funky one, but I do have a winner here. So can you tell us what the challenge was last week with the boar? Oh, hey, there we go. I lost you guys for a minute.
Hey,
you're back. All right. So
couldn't hear you.
Oh,
yeah, my bad. Hey, can you explain what the challenge was for last week?
Yeah, so last week the challenge was to get lethal on yourself with the largest stone tusk boar. So, you back again?
Yeah, that was weird. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so get lethal on yourself with the largest stone tusk boar. Figure it out. And the winner was Mediocre Ogre. Managed to use a Silas to to give their opponent a 100-100 stone tusk boar and then attack into it with their weapon, doing 104 damage to their own face.
Right.
wait. He did that to someone else?
Gave them the boar and then attacked his own boar.
Yeah, this was kind of a funky, difficult one. Like, I don't know how you came up. I don't know how you came up with this, but like, this was definitely something. Like, think outside the box. But like over the past couple of months, like we've had to get more and more creative with these because the folks listening would complete these challenges so quickly. It was like we had to get more and more over the top each episode, and so it was a weird challenge to begin with. And so, but there is a handful of different ways to do this, and so in addition to the challenge, it was like, hey, how big can you get that stone tusk boar as well? And so 104, that's just crazy. So yeah, big congrats to Mediocre Ogre for winning that challenge. The challenge this week is from Schmoopy Daddy in our Discord. And let me pull it up here. I swear I had okay, here it is. I have the challenge right here. Okay, so this is from Schmoopy Daddy. This week's challenge is the most Replicatotrons. So here's the rules. Get both the highest number of Replicatotrons and the largest total stats, attack and health, during your opponent's turn. So number one, first, the largest number of Replicatotrons. For example, 633s wins over two 2121s. And then number two, the largest total of stats is added, damage included. Example, a 3-3 and an injured 3-1 counts as a 6-4. So anyways, yeah, we'll see. This will be an interesting one. Want to see how you guys are able to complete it. Challenge is to get the most possible Replicatotrons that you can. So anyways, I will share this in the Discord. We will share it in the show notes if anyone wants to try to complete this. One thing before we wrap up the show real quick, we do have, we were doing a couple of drawings this week for, we've got bundle codes to give away. And so I've got 3 drawings to do real quick. So the first one here is for the code that has been supplied to us by Blizzard. And so let me spin the wheel. We had a whole mess of people do this one. So all of these little lines here are people's names, but we do this live on the show and see who wins. So let me click on the wheel real quick. All right, so winner of the bundle for the Blizzard giveaway is Santi26. Congrats. I'll reach out and yeah, congrats on the bundle. So this is for a code for the new bundle from Blizzard. So we will be reaching out to you. So big congrats. And then we had 2 other giveaways. One was sponsored from Ben from work and one from another community member. And these were a little bit different, that were for a charity giveaway. And the way that these were done, you had to donate at least $5 to a charity to get input for this drawing. And so the pool is a lot smaller, but collectively we raised a $142 for different charities. So that's kind of cool. Anyway, so we've got 2 more codes to give away here for this. So I'm just going to click the wheel real quick and see, and we'll have 2 people here. So first up is, I'm going to mispronounce this. I apologize. So it's Pillsbeer. Congrats. Very, very cool. And one more here. All right, Disruptor 108, who just so happens to be one of our patrons of our show. So that's super cool.
Nice.
Rock and roll, you guys. All right, well, we will be reaching out to hook you guys up with these bundles. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining in the drawings for those, and thank you to everyone that donated to the charities. That's super cool, and I'm excited that we were able to host those.
Congratulations, everybody.
All right. Hey, one final thing that I did want to say. Next week is our 1-year episode. It's kind of cool. I mean, I think we've been going a little bit longer than that, but next week is technically episode 52. And so that is like the 1-year episode. One thing that we are going to do on the show is to, if anybody is interested in sending messages to us and having us play them on the show, we're going to open that up. So I've got a link here. I'll post it in chat. We'll post it on the Discord and in the show notes. But there's a way that you can go online and record a message for us if you want to say happy birthday to the show or have any thoughts in general. We thought it might be fun to reach out a little bit. And so we use Anchor to host our podcast. If you go there, there's a link where you can record a little message that we'll get to us. So I think that'll be kind of fun, and I'm excited. It's been quite a year, you guys.
Yeah,
I'm excited too. It's gonna be awesome. I'm glad to be a part of the ride. Even if I wasn't here at the start, it still feels good. Be 8 months in.
I love it.
That's right.
And that, I think, is pretty much a wrap. Dragon Rider, thank you so much for donating your time and spending the last 3 hours with us. I apologize. It went an hour longer than we were planning on. It tends to do that sometimes, and I'm sorry, but thank you so much for hanging out. It's been an absolute blast, and we learned quite a bit from you. I think there's a couple giant things that we would have missed if you hadn't pointed them out. And so love hanging out with you, and I highly encourage people to check out your stream and check out Amberflight Gaming in general.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. And I'm sorry, I probably contributed quite a bit to that extra time there because I tend to ramble and talk a lot. So that was probably also on me.
No, that's great. I mean, that's great.
You're the one we want to hear from, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You're the guest. That's why we got you here. And thank you.
Yes, thank you guys. It was an absolute blast.
And I also learned that I'll stick to one server before I move to the next.
Hopefully it works for you.
I'm going to try it.
I'm rooting for you.
It's funny to hear that confirmed, that he should do that, because, being on the show, I get to hear Hydra talk about 3 servers every week. So it's cool to hear someone else with that experience come in and drop some game. Because, Hydra gets to drop game on everyone else every week. So it's cool to hear someone else in his space be like, this is what you should do. So it's cool for my little corner to hear that. I'm not doing 3 servers. No.
Oh man. I've spent too much time and too much money growing a collection on NA. I started an EU account and it's like pitifully small, and I have zero interest of like expanding, but I loved watching you guys do it. It's great. So you guys keep it up. Hey, Dragon Rider, where can people find you if they want to watch you stream or follow you on social media?
Yeah, absolutely. You can find me on Twitter at DawnieDK, and that's DAWNIEDK. And currently, during all of March and the first week of April, I'm actually streaming every single day. This is like 37 days straight. And you can find me over there. That is twitch.tv/DragonRiderDK.
Nice. Cool. And hey, you are part of at least one podcast, right? Where can people find that if they want to listen to you?
Yeah, that is the Dr. 3HS. That's where you can find it everywhere, pretty much, on Twitter. And we don't stream the podcast live like you guys do here. But maybe that's something we'll do in the future. But definitely check that out. We are a standard focus podcast. And then also I've been part of the Bob's Tavern Cast, a Battlegrounds podcast. So if you're interested in Battlegrounds, you can check that out as well.
KJ Miller.
And
Yeah.
who are your other hosts on Doctor 3?
Oh, that is Mage Death and Daring Alkaline.
Nice,
Awesome.
nice.
Major
Yeah,
Death.
those-
I love Dwayne.
Those guys are cool. Yeah, and Dwayne, as far as I know, does play Wild as well.
He does, yes.
Yeah.
So he brings that up sometimes on the show, kind of helps give us a little bit of a perspective for Wild as well.
Yeah, he's an OG dad legend.
And I don't know if you guys have heard this story or not. I will deviate for 2 seconds here. Daring Alkaline, number one, used to be a co-host of the Daring Reporter, along with Greenspeed, but also is the younger brother of Rod Johnston, our buddy. And what I think is so hilarious, yeah, you guys didn't know that, right?
No.
And the thing that I think is so funny is that his name is Kurt and Rod's name is Rod, and so when you put them together, you have Kurt and Rod.
Oh, jeez, that's hilarious.
There you go. But
That's good.
jeez, yeah. All right, hey Hydra, where can people find you?
You could find me in Rod Johnston's Twitch chat making fun of him for that probably tomorrow. But in all seriousness, you can find me at Hydralisk_HS on Twitter and Twitch, and you can always find me in the Discord where we have an amazing community. If you're out there and you're a Wild player or a Standard player, if you're looking to get into some Wild, come check out our Discord. We have decks galore in there, and we have an amazing community that will totally help you out and point you in the right direction.
Absolutely, 100%. Hey Mike, where can people find you?
Yeah, I want to ride that coattail, excuse me. You said curtain rod, so now Kurt is in my brain. Oh my goodness, son. Yeah, you guys could find me, the Born to Be Wild Discord, Commissioner Low, putting the series together. Play Wild, play Standard, come join the series. I'm sorry, come join the Discord, because I'm going to be playing in some Standard series, so I would need some Standard friends and some more advice, you know what I'm saying? With this rotation coming in, all these new cards, find me on Twitch and Twitter at Blakarot __. One thing I want to mention I didn't mention, hopefully they forgive me. Shout out to Martian Boo and Slizzle, because they both threw me a raid and a host this week, big time. So it really helped. So thank you guys. Find me on Twitch at Blakarot __. Somebody took my original name. I got to get that back. So the underscore will go away one day. But for now, we're getting back. It's to get back. We'll get rid of it.
Nice. Well, I like it. I love having you guys on. I love hanging out every week. And so, as for me, you can find me mostly on Twitter at NateWolfTCG. It's NateWolfeTCG. More importantly, you can find the show at borntobewildhs.com. If you visit the website, there are links to download all of the podcasts. There are links to where you can find the podcast on different platforms. There's links to the YouTube and video versions, and to the merch store and the Discord. And again, just to second what Hydra said, I think the Discord is a super awesome place. It's a large community of very friendly, welcoming people where you can get deck lists, chat with people, find practice matches, and all that stuff. And I highly recommend people doing it. Even if you hate social media, the Discord is kind of a nice place to kind of go and escape and learn some things and just interact with some very welcoming people. And so I highly recommend that. Mm-hmm. And that's a wrap for this week. Next week, I hope that you guys will join us all again. We've got another very special guest, a very good friend of ours by the name of Ziggy Sarah. Mike and I have known her for many years now. Yeah. One of the original hosts of 1600 Dust from way back in the day. And again, we talk about playing Wild before there was Wild. Last time we had chatted, she was playing Katharina Winter Wisp, like Recruit Hunter, and I'm excited to kind of
Recruit Hunter
jump back into some of that stuff. And so thank you everyone for being here tonight. Don, thank you again for your time and for hanging out with us. We loved having you. And thank you to everybody who has been hanging out in chat, watching and interacting with us. We really appreciate y'all's time, and we will see you next week on another episode of Born to Be Wild. Bye.